Chapter 498. After a while, Sue let out a soft sigh. What? Causing trouble again? At the beginning of last year, New Flyer cooperated with the Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce, the Armani Chamber of Commerce, and the Renekton Chamber of Commerce to invest in a production base in the Black Rice Wasteland. At the beginning, everything went smoothly for this production base. They hired many Beastmen workers from the Black Rice Wasteland, reducing the cost of hiring workers. This allowed the four companies to taste quite a bit of benefit. However, in the second half of the year, the Beastmen of the Black Rice Wasteland began to harass the production base. This caused the production of the base to be forced to stop, resulting in very serious losses. Moreover, it wasn't just the Beastmen from the other tribes that came to cause trouble. Even the Beastmen workers in the factories had repeatedly caused trouble. Once, they even clashed head-on with the human workers in the base, almost killing them. Due to the repeated incidents, it was very difficult to maintain the production base. At the end of the year, the four Chamber of Commerce had suffered losses. Although there wasn't a single company that wanted to retreat because of these losses, if this situation continued, the production base would not be able to hold on in the end. Isn't that so? Chairman Cruz helplessly spread his hands. I really don't understand what those Beastmen are thinking. Everyone is clearly working together to make money. It's good for you, good for me, good for everyone. These fellows just have to cause trouble for no reason, forcing us to stop production. Not mentioning the losses we suffered, did they not suffer any losses? Sui rubbed his head and said with a sigh, There's nothing we can do about it. The Beastmen just don't have a brain and their nature is untamed. They just don't want to submit to us humans, so no one can do anything about it. It's not right to say that there's nothing we can do. Chairman Cruz shook his head. When the elves were still ruling the continent, the Beastmen were all as obedient as kittens. There was never a Beastman that dared to cause trouble, let alone go against the elves. In the end, the first ones to stand up and overthrow the elves were us, the humans that the Beastmen looked down on and thought were cowardly. Oh? What special method did the elves have to make the Beastmen obedient? Sui asked in curiosity. What special method? It's very simple, just beat them up. Chairman Cruz said with a look of disdain. Let me tell you, the Beastmen are the typical bullies. If you are a bit tough to the point that they have no choice but to submit, they will listen to you and not resist. But if you're not tough enough with him, then he'll think that you're incapable, and instead, he'll bully you. Why is this like a race from Earth? Sui felt a bit amused. What's your opinion? My opinion. To be honest, Chairman Vincent, Chairman Renersa, and I all have the same opinion. We feel that Chairman Sue isn't strong enough, making the Beastmen feel that our companies are too weak. Chairman Cruz honestly said. You can just say that I'm too weak. Sue glared at him. Alright then. What do you think is called not being weak or being tough? Are we going to kill all the Beastmen in the Black Rice Wasteland? The problem is that we are going to make money, not slaughter. How could it be that exaggerated? Chairman Cruz waved his hand. The three of us want to strengthen our guards there. It would be best if, in addition to protecting the safety of the production base, we can also leave the production base and show off our strength to the Beastmen tribes in the Black Rice Wasteland. This way they won't dare to harass us in the future. So? How do you plan to strengthen them? Don't forget, manpower, especially qualified guards, is very hard to find. Our company has spent a lot of effort, but we don't have more than 1,000 guards. Sui said. If you have the ability, why don't you try including your elven and dwarven guards? Chairman Cruz glared at Sui and waved his hand. But that's not what I meant. It's not easy to increase the number of qualified guards, but increasing the number of guards isn't the only way to increase the number of guards, right? For example, giving them better weapons and equipment? Seeing Chairman Cruz raise his eyebrows and smile with a deep meaning, Sui couldn't help but laugh. Alright, Cruz, you've gone around in a big circle. In the end, you just want to buy some military magic machines from me for your company's guards. That's right. Since Sue had exposed him, Chairman Cruz no longer hid it. That's what I was thinking. Since your new flyer has such good military magic machines and powerful weapons and equipment, if you give them to our company's guards, we can guarantee that our battle strength will greatly increase. We won't have to worry about the beastmen's harassment. The idea is good, but there is a problem. Sue sighed. Ordinary weapons and armor are fine, but all kinds of military magic machines are controlled by the kingdom's military. Ordinary company's guards aren't allowed to be equipped with them. Chairman Cruz stared. Then why are your new flyer's guards equipped with them? Because not only are they our company's guards, they are also nominally the personal guards of a viscount. What? Are any of the chairmen of your 3 companies nobles? Chairman Cruz rolled his eyes. You. In the entire Lampari kingdom, you're the only one who is both a noble and a merchant. Why are you still asking when you already know the answer? So even if I want to do this, I can't do anything about it, right? Sue spread his hands. No, of course there is a way. Chairman Cruz suddenly showed a sly smile. He took out a document from his chest and handed it to Sue. Sue took it to take a look and found that this was a standard business order for nobles. The one who sent this order was a small noble of Banta City, Baron Ketsi. The contents of the order were that Baron Ketsi wanted to go on a trip to the Black Rice Wasteland, but because he was worried that the beastmen of the Black Rice Wasteland would harm him, he decided to provide himself with no more than 300 personal guards set by the royal parliament. In order for these 300 personal guards to protect his life, he wanted to increase their battle strength. So he sent an order to New Flyer, ordering 300 magic repeating crossbows and 3 portable magic trebuchet. After reading this order, Sue looked at Baron Ketsi's noble seal at the bottom of the order for a while before looking up at Chairman Cruz with a strange look. It's good that you thought of this method, but are you certain that this won't attract the attention of the royal parliament, restricting or even punishing you? Chairman Cruz revealed a faint smile. What is there to worry about? It's not like we're the only company doing this. Where do you think the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce has over 2,000 guards? Sue thought about it before nodding. His eyes fell back onto the order, and it was like a large door was slowly opening for him. Hashtag. After the New Year's, winter passed day by day, as if it had passed in the blink of an eye. With the flowers blooming in spring, Banta City became more and more lively with each passing day because of the influx of people. The renovation of Banta City began on the day the spring breeze blew and didn't stop for a single day. The entire Banta City seemed to have become a giant construction site, with all kinds of buildings being built in every place. Almost every day there were changes happening in Banta City. In the new district outside the city, the roads were extending bit by bit. Now not only were they connected to every village outside the city, they were connected in all directions. It allowed people to take public transport magic cars that were gradually being developed to easily go anywhere in the city. And in the new district, not only were there all kinds of factories, there were also many buildings that the people of Banta City had never seen or even heard of before. For example, there was a nursing home beside the hospital. It was said that the Armani Chamber of Commerce had donated money to build it. In this nursing home, as long as one was an old person over 60, they could receive a set of clothes that matched the season, as well as bedding and other daily necessities. If there was no one to support them and they lost the ability to live, they could directly move to this nursing home. Naturally, there would be people who would take care of their lives and let them live without worrying about food or clothing. Other than the nursing home, there was an aid station not far away that was said to be built by the Fulcao Chamber of Commerce. The use of this aid station was to help people who were in trouble. As long as they were in trouble, they could ask for help from this place. Not only could the aid station provide basic food and lodging, It could also give people a chance to find jobs based on their own choices or send them to their friends and family. Moreover, not far from the aid station, there was a large vocational training school that the City Lord Manor had built with the support of the large companies of the city. There was no need to pay tuition, and anyone could choose a vocational training course. The price they had to pay was that, after the training, if they finished, they had to work for a Banta City company that needed this job for at least 3 years. Once they violated this, they would be blacklisted by all the companies in Banta City, and they would never be able to find a job in Banta City. In these new buildings, people found that the various companies of Banta City were participating, but they didn't see the new flyer's name. So everyone was very curious. Wasn't the new flyer always interested in these public welfare matters that Chairman Su mentioned? Why was it that for these public welfare matters, there wasn't a trace of the new flyer? Perhaps in response to everyone's questions, in the spring Shinfei bicycle race that was added this year, the new flyer also announced something. In a week, the new flyer would be holding a product announcement that hadn't been held in a long time. The one hosting this product announcement was actually Su Yi himself. Chapter 499. While everyone was looking forward to Su Yi's rare public appearance, Su Yi was anxiously pacing back and forth outside a bedroom in the Falling Star Manor. From time to time, he glanced at the door of the bedroom, his eyes full of expectation. The door of the bedroom was tightly closed. Only a few shouts and vague moans of steel could be heard from inside. The human females of the Signs continent were no different from the human females of Earth. They could also have children, and they would give birth after 10 months. That's right, Steel was going to give birth. Su Yi didn't know what he was feeling at this moment. He only felt that it was extremely complicated and indescribable. When he was on Earth, because he focused on mechanical research, he had very few opportunities to contact girls, let alone fall in love. However, after coming to Signs, he met Steel by accident and finally married Steel. Now, he was going to have his own child. Although he had expected this day to come on the day he married Steel, when it really came, Su Yi was still at a loss and didn't know what to do. Was he going to be a father? But what would it be like to be a father? Would Steel's child be a boy or a girl? If it was a boy, what would his name be? If it was a girl, what would her name be? Would they follow his surname? If their surname was Su, what would their name be? A lot of miscellaneous questions were running around in Su Yi's mind. It had been more than 6 years since he came to this world. This was probably the first day that Su Yi didn't consider any questions related to survival and mechanical knowledge. However, the moment the door of the bedroom was opened, all the miscellaneous questions instantly turned into one question. How is Steel? Is she okay? Su Yi stared at the nurse who was responsible for delivering Steel and asked nervously. Since Steel suddenly felt a stomachache last night, the private doctor that Su Yi had invited home early said that she was going to give birth. It had been nearly 10 hours since then, but Steel didn't show any signs of giving birth. Su Yi couldn't help but worry. The nurse didn't look nervous at all. Instead, she smiled and comforted Su Yi. Don't worry, Chairman Su, Mrs. Steel is very healthy and has good strength. She will be fine. Then why hasn't she given birth yet? Su Yi asked again. The nurse smiled. Chairman Su, do you think giving birth to a child is a simple thing? It's not that fast. After all, this was Madame Still's first time giving birth. It wouldn't go so smoothly. But don't worry, she's to give birth to you to give birth. Hearing the nurse's confident tone, Su Yi relaxed a bit. All right, don't disturb them. Let them focus on delivering Steel. Great Magician Camilla on the side patted Su Yi's shoulder, indicating for him to calm down. Su Yi nodded. He let go of the nurse and let her go. As soon as she left, the bedroom door was suddenly opened again. Su Yi quickly looked over and saw Agnes walking out. Hey, Agnes, what do you think of Steel's situation? Su Yi quickly asked her. Agnes had a strange expression, she's pretty good, I don't think there should be any problems. But Chairman, it seems like you humans give birth the same as us elves. I thought that there would be a difference if there were different races. Sui didn't know whether to laugh or cry. What? Have you seen your clansmen give birth before? In our clan, giving birth is a large matter and the elders place a lot of importance on it. However, there are very few situations like this among us elves. I've grown this old and I've only seen less than 10 births. Agnes replied, thinking of how although Agnes looked like a human girl less than 20 years old, she was actually over 80 years old. Sui couldn't help deeply understanding the problem that Elder Elucia had mentioned to him many times before. The elves' fertility rate was just too low. In the few decades that Agnes knew, there had only been 10 births, which was a pitiful number. It was no wonder Elder Elucia was worried that even if there were no external factors, the elves would go extinct due to their low fertility rate. After looking at Agnes, Sui suddenly thought of a problem. That's right, Agnes, you should have reached the age where you can get married and have children, right? Have you fallen in love with any handsome male elf and thought about marrying him and having children with him? If you've fallen in love with any male elf in your clan, I can introduce you to him. Agnes was not shy like a human girl when it came to this problem. Rather, she seriously thought about it before shaking her head. No, I don't have any thoughts of marrying any clansman. To be honest, Chairman, I actually like you more. Sui was stunned before quickly waving his hand. No, I'm a human and you're an elf. How could you marry me? This is clearly impossible. Is that so? Agnes had a confused look. So humans and elves can't marry? Sui couldn't help rolling his eyes. This is common sense, all right? Could it be that Elder Elucia didn't teach you this? No. Agnes shook her head with a depressed look on her face. So elves and humans can't marry, that really is a pity. I thought that I liked being with Chairman very much, and would try to get you to agree to become my companion. Sui had an expression of being defeated by Agnes. After thinking about it, he patted Agnes' shoulder and said, Don't be too disappointed. Actually, you're this beautiful and I like your personality, so you must be very popular among the elves. Alright, let's not think about these impossible things right now. I'll give you a task. Go in and accompany Steel for me, and if anything is wrong, immediately come out and report it. Alright. Agnes gave a strong nod before turning to enter the room. When the door to the room closed, Sui knit his brows and turned to complain to Great Magician Camilla. I say, what kind of damn rule is this? Why can't I, as Steele's husband, go in and accompany her at such a crucial time? I can only wait outside? This is simply inhumane. Great Magician Camilla patted Sui's shoulder and comforted him in a soft voice. Giving birth is the most important and secret thing in a woman's life. Of course she isn't willing to let a man see it. Moreover, it's said that when giving birth, a woman will become very ugly. Of course Steele isn't willing to let you see her ugly appearance, so just treat it as thinking for Steele. Sui was still a bit indignant. He cursed a few times in a low voice, but there was nothing he could do. He continued to pace back and forth outside the room, anxiously waiting. But it was a good thing that after around half an hour, good news kept coming. Chairman, the child's head is already out. The first one to report was Agnes, who Sui had just sent in. Master, the child's arm is also out. This was Vivian. Master, half of the child is out. Master, the child is about to come out. Master, the child's foot is also out. Hearing this news, Sui's expression became more and more excited. After waiting for a while, the door to the room was suddenly opened again. The nurse who came out to report had a wide smile as she loudly said to Sui, Chairman Su, congratulations, the child is already out. Sui was instantly filled with joy as he charged over with a wide smile. How is Steele right now? Where's the child? Can I go in now? Is it a boy or a girl? How does it look? The nurse opened the door a bit and made a small gap, indicating for Sui to follow her in. He never thought that the nurse would keep him in suspense, so Sue immediately opened the door and walked in. The large room was currently filled with people. Agnes, Vivian, Liz, and Linda were all around the large bed in the center, surrounding Steele, who was lying on the bed. Sue walked over to the bed and seeing Steele's pale face, his heart tightened. He quickly grabbed her hand and asked in a soft voice, "How is it, Steele? How do you feel?" Steele was a bit weak as she slowly opened her eyes. Seeing that it was Sue, she squeezed out a faint smile. "I'm very good. But, Sue, I'm sorry." Sue was stunned. "Sorry? Why are you sorry?" A complicated expression appeared on Steele's face. "Because I gave birth to a girl." Sue was even more confused. "What's wrong with a girl? Why are you sorry?" Steele slightly shook her head and closed her eyes, as if she didn't have the strength to speak. Sue looked at the people around the bed in surprise and found that only Agnes had a normal expression. The others, including Vivian, had a strained expression. Sue knit his brows. His heart skipped a beat as he suddenly understood. After thinking about it, Sue leaned over and kissed Steele's cheek. Seeing Steele open her eyes again, his eyes were firm as he said in a soft voice, "Steele, I told you a long time ago that you don't need to worry about these meaningless things. I will make you feel at ease." After saying this, Sue stood up and opened his hands to the nurse on the side. "Where's my daughter? Give her to me. As her father, I still haven't seen what she looks like." The nurse seemed to feel that the atmosphere in the room was a bit strange. She looked at Sue and hesitated a bit before giving the baby in the cradle to Sue. Sue took the tightly wrapped baby and opened the cloth over her head. Seeing that her face was wrinkled because she had just been born and her facial features hadn't even developed yet, she definitely couldn't be considered beautiful. There was a very complicated feeling that filled his heart. This was his child? After staring at his daughter's face for a while, Sue finally took a deep breath. He looked up at Steele on the bed and nodded to her. Then he looked at great magician Camilla, who had come in and was standing by the bed. Finally he looked over everyone in the room and raised his daughter high up in his hands. "Now I announce." Chapter 500. Because it was in the south of the Lampari Kingdom, it could be considered south of the signs. In March, winter was already far away from Banta City. When the sun came out in the morning, the entire city was filled with a warm aura. Under the sunlight, it made people feel very comfortable. Perhaps it was to enjoy the sunlight that New Flyer didn't hold their product announcement in the various halls of the city. Rather, they held it in the square by the Sandy River outside the city. Of course, this was also because New Flyer was releasing too many products at this product announcement, so it took up too much space. The normal halls of Banta City couldn't fit it all. After taking the public transport magic car from Banta City and getting out of the public square, the first thing they saw was a passenger magic car. However, compared to the public transport magic car, this passenger magic car was a full circle bigger. The medium transport magic cars used for public transport were around 5 meters long and less than 2 meters wide, but this passenger magic car was 10 meters long. It was twice as wide as the medium transport magic car, being close to 4 meters. As for its height, it was also very exaggerated. The medium transport magic car was only 2 meters tall and normal people could reach the top if they jump. This passenger magic car that was twice as big was over 3 meters tall, so normal people couldn't reach the top no matter how they jump. Everyone, please take a look. This is our New Flyer's newly developed large passenger magic car. There are 37 standard seats, so it can fit 37 adults. Other than that, if there is a special situation, it can fit up to 50 people at the same time. Moreover, this car has the newest suspension system, so it is much more comfortable to sit in compared to the heavy transport magic cars. Hearing the introduction of the beautiful receptionist, everyone's eyes lit up. This car looks even better than the medium transport magic cars, and it's much bigger. Can fit all these people at once, how convenient is that? That's right, it's quite comfortable to sit in. If the Fersen Carriage Company changes their long-distance cars to this kind of large passenger magic car, that would be great. I definitely have to recommend to the chairman to buy one. That way it'll be much more convenient for our company when we go out. When these people were focused on the large passenger magic car, there was another group of people who were surrounding a large magic car not far away. This magic car was clearly a transport magic car. But it was different from the medium transport magic car that New Flyer released before. This transport magic car was clearly bigger. Hey miss, how much can this car hold? A person with normal clothes who looked like a normal farmer, but his eyes had the eyes of a merchant as he asked the receptionist beside the magic car. The reception miss revealed a dazzling smile. This, sir, this large transport magic car has a standard carrying capacity of 10 tons. 10 tons? Hearing this answer, the surrounding people all gasped in shock. Oh my God, this car can carry 10 tons of goods? Doesn't that mean that what used to take several trips can be done in one trip now? Everyone couldn't help but exclaim. This is too exaggerated. Just one car can carry 10 tons of stuff? Can it really be pulled? But there were people who were doubtful. Not only can it be pulled, when it doesn't exceed the standard carrying capacity, this large transport magic car can maintain a speed of over 40 kilometers per hour. The reception miss kept replying with a faint smile. It can go 40 kilometers with this much cargo? Isn't this too exaggerated? This time, everyone was shocked and even found it a bit hard to believe. Hey miss, you wouldn't be bragging, right? How much stuff is 10 tons? This thing can go 40 kilometers per hour. That's impossible, right? The reception miss was very professional. Her expression didn't change at all as she maintained a kind smile. Sir, this is the real data that our new flyer has obtained after many tests. There is nothing false about it. I ask you to believe in the reputation of our company. We wouldn't lie about this matter. Before the person who raised this question could speak, the others all began criticizing him. That's right, New Flyer always does what they say. How could they brag? That's right, what's the benefit of bragging about this? It'll be exposed immediately. New Flyer's reputation is that good, I believe in them. Forget about the other companies, but what's there to say about the Frestec Chamber of Commerce's magic machines? They are definitely the best. Everyone kept talking and the person who raised this question didn't have any more objections. He began asking questions about the various details of this large transport magic car with everyone else. Passing by the entrance of the press conference, there were 2 large magic cars that were like 2 giant door gods that entered the center of the conference hall. Looking at it, the first thing that attracted people's eyes was definitely the strange-looking magic car in the center of the conference hall. But looking closely, one would find that it was very beautiful. This magic car was like a miniature passenger magic car. Whether it was length, width, or height, it was much smaller, but its overall appearance was very exquisite. The exterior lines were smooth and the surface was covered in a layer of paint that had a special metallic glow to it. With the bright noon sun, the magic car reflected several rays of light, making it even more dazzling. It made people unable to look straight at it, but they weren't willing to look away at it at all. No matter what angle one looked at it from, it was much better than the magic car. There was a luxurious and elegant feel to it, making people feel that it was very high class. So of course, there were many people around this magic car, most of them being famous nobles and large merchants of the city. As for the normal citizens, just based on the appearance of this car, they knew that this wasn't a high-class luxury that they could afford. So they could only look at it from afar and didn't dare ask about it. 9,999 gold coins for one? Hearing the response of the young miss, Baron Belil was a bit surprised. It's this expensive? But turning to look at the beautiful magic sedan in front of him, Baron Belil felt that this price was very reasonable. This kind of noble-looking magic sedan, if it wasn't a bit more expensive, how could it be special? When he came to the Frestec Chamber of Commerce's product announcement today, other than being bored, he also wanted to cause trouble and embarrass Sue a bit. But he never thought that as soon as he came in and saw the magic sedan, he would be completely attracted by it. He even forgot his goal and seriously asked about the magic sedan. After circling around the magic sedan, Baron Belil thought about it before pointing at the magic sedan and asking, "Can I go in and try?" The young miss opened the door on the left with a faint smile and gestured for Baron Belil to get in. Seeing the eyes of the nobles and merchants gathered on him, Baron Belil revealed a proud smile. He lowered his body and carefully entered the car. As soon as he sat down, he could feel that the seat under his butt was made of real leather. There was also a soft cushion under it that made it very comfortable to sit on. When he leaned back, he felt that the same cushion behind him was also very soft and comfortable. Moreover, the special design of the backrest perfectly supported his waist and back, so that he didn't need to use any strength at all to sit up straight. His overall posture was very comfortable. Baron Belil even felt that even if he sat like this for an entire day, he wouldn't feel uncomfortable at all. "Great, just based on this seat it's worth this price," Baron Belil couldn't help praising. Then he raised his hands and found that he could barely reach the steering wheel in front of him, so he couldn't help knitting his brows. The young miss on the side bent over and said with a faint smile, "Mister, if you feel that the seat isn't comfortable, you can adjust it according to your needs." "It can be adjusted?" Baron Belil was surprised. "Yes, do you need it adjusted?" Move the seat forward a bit, I can't reach the steering wheel." "Alright. Please look here." The young miss reached under the seat and with a bit of strength, Baron Belil felt that the sturdy seat had loosened. His body loosened and the seat slid forward a bit with his body. Baron Belil was surprised. He reached under the seat and found a bar. With a bit of strength, the seat loosened a bit. After sliding back and forth a few times, Baron Belil finally found a very suitable position. Sitting up straight, he put his hands on the steering wheel and looked forward, feeling that this was a very good feeling. Looking around, he found that there was a small control panel beside the steering wheel. "What is this?" "This is the switch that controls the magic air conditioner, the magic lights, the trunk, and other devices," the young miss replied. "Wah, there's a magic air conditioner and magic lights in here?" Hearing the young lady's reply, not only was Baron Belil surprised, but the group of people outside the carriage was also surprised. "Isn't this too strong?" A merchant couldn't help saying. "According to what you're saying, sitting in here is no different from sitting at home." The young miss revealed a faint smile. "Our new flyer's idea of making this magic sedan is to let the passengers treat it as their own mobile home, allowing them to enjoy the comfort and warmth of home on the road." Chapter 501. Why are there so many different kinds of magic cars at once? While the receptionist was answering the questions of the guests, Sue was also answering all kinds of questions, but the people he was facing were the reporters sent by the various newspapers. It had already been half a year since the last Frestec Chamber of Commerce product announcement, and the Frestec Chamber of Commerce had announced today's product announcement a week ahead of time. It could be seen that the Frestec Chamber of Commerce placed importance on this product announcement, so naturally it attracted the attention of the countless newspapers in Banta City and the surrounding cities. When the reporters came to this product announcement, they found that it was very worth it for them to come here. The Frestec Chamber of Commerce had changed the convention of only announcing a single product at their product announcement and had held a large new product exhibition, showing close to 10 new products to everyone. Although the main theme of this product announcement was the magic car, and these close to 10 new products could be considered a type of magic car, seeing so many different magic cars, whether it was in terms of appearance, use, or function, it still shocked everyone. Especially the magic car that Sue named the magic sedan in the center of the venue. it attracted everyone's attention. These reporters had experience that normal people couldn't compare to, so naturally they could tell with a single glance that although this magic sedan had a high price, it satisfied the superiority of the nobles and large merchants. If the price was too low, it wouldn't have attracted the attention of the nobles and large merchants at this product announcement. Moreover, whether it was in terms of appearance, performance, or comfort, this magic sedan was outstanding. It could even be considered a work of art, so it was natural that it would be welcomed. But compared to the shock of the different kinds of magic cars, what the reporters cared about more was why the new flyer had released so many new kinds of magic cars at once at this product announcement. This was different from the new flyer's usual practice, as well as Su Yi's words of eating one bite at a time and walking one step at a time. Why? Su Yi looked over the reporters under the stage and revealed a faint smile. Because I want to tell everyone a fact through this product launch. That is that there is a lot of room for development in magic cars and there are many types that can be developed. It's not just the medium transport magic cars and the medium passenger magic cars that our company has. The reporters below the stage nodded in unison. Indeed, before attending this product announcement, everyone only knew about the magic cars from the new flyer. Now that they had seen all these new magic cars at this product announcement, especially after seeing the magic sedan, everyone found that there were countless possibilities for the magic car. It could be said that because of the new flyer's display at the product launch, everyone's train of thought had been greatly expanded. From the magic cars displayed at this press conference, everyone could think of even more magic cars. That's right. In the future, our company will release even more magic cars with even more uses. It will also increase the quality and performance of the magic cars. Su Yi nodded, confirming everyone's guesses. For example, in this magic sedan, we've used the latest steel alloy to make this magic sedan even stronger in terms of impact resistance and deformation resistance. So don't look at how this magic sedan is smaller than the medium passenger magic car. When you sit in it, your safety isn't lacking at all. You don't need to worry about being fatally injured from a collision. At least it's much safer than sitting in a horse carriage. The reporters under the stage looked at each other before a reporter suddenly raised his hand and asked in a loud voice, "Chairman Su, I've heard that you've always looked down on horse carriages, is that true?" Su Yi looked at him and recognized that this was a reporter from a tabloid that had recently appeared in Banta City that specialized in reporting gossip. He shook his head and said, "This isn't accurate. Accurately speaking, I only look down on the performance of horse carriages, not the horse carriages themselves." The reporters under the stage were surprised. "Is there a difference?" "Of course there is," Su Yi said with a smile. "I look down on the performance of horse carriages because whether it is in terms of safety, comfort, or the most important factor of transportation, speed, it can't satisfy me. Compared to the magic car, horse carriages can't compare in any aspect. You think that since our new flyer has already developed the magic car, why can't I look down on the performance of horse carriages? Chairman Su, can I think that you're trying to promote your company's magic cars, so you're deliberately showing this attitude?" That reporter kept asking. Su Yi looked at him and couldn't help smiling. He spread his hands and asked back, "You think that I need to work so hard to promote the magic car?" Seeing the surrounding reporters looking at him like he was an idiot, that tabloid reporter immediately understood how stupid his question was. Su Yi wasn't wrong at all. He didn't need to work so hard to promote the magic car. He didn't even need to promote it. Because after seeing that the magic car far surpassed the performance of horse carriages, New Flyer's magic cars were very popular whether it was in Banta City or the other cities of the Lampari Kingdom. New Flyer's current magic cars couldn't meet the demand, so New Flyer's magic car factory always had the longest working hours in New Flyer. Even like this, it's said that New Flyer's orders for magic cars far surpassed their production by several times, and it's even said that they were scheduled for the year after next. In this situation, Was there a need for Sue to make a statement and sell it? It had to be known, the people who wanted to buy magic cars were begging New Flyer to sell them, it wasn't New Flyer begging people to buy them. Seeing that the reporter didn't say anything, Sue continued with a smile. All right, since you've asked this question, I'll use this chance to give my thoughts in detail. The reporters under the stage were shocked as they focused on Sue. I just said that I looked down on the performance of horse carriages because compared to the magic car, horse carriages can't compare in all aspects and can't meet the needs of people. The most important thing is that they can't meet the current large demand for transportation. Sue paused before pointing at the large transport magic car at the entrance. Look, this large transport magic car has a standard carrying capacity of 10 tons. If it was a horse carriage, even if it was the Fersen Carriage Company's largest horse carriage that was pulled by 8 horses, it wouldn't be able to carry more than 3 tons, and it wouldn't be able to carry more than 4 tons. It's not that different, people can't accept it at all. A reporter refuted. Is that so? Sue revealed a faint smile. You've forgotten 2 important things. One is the investment cost and the other is the cost of maintaining operations. Oh? Chairman Sue, please explain it in detail. First, let's talk about the investment cost. Do you know how much it costs to build the Fersen Carriage Company's large horse carriage? Let me tell you, President Pompey personally told me that the large cargo carriage was specially custom-made by him. In order to be able to bear the heavy cargo, he chose the strongest and most durable materials. As a result, the cost of the whole carriage was as high as 3,000 gold coins. But your large transport magic car costs 5,000 gold coins, it's much higher than the large horse carriage. Another reporter said in a loud voice. Did you forget about the 8 horses? Sue immediately asked back. That reporter was stunned. A horse that can pull 3 to 4 tons of goods is, of course, the best horse. So the Fersen Carriage Company spent a total of 5,000 gold coins just to buy these 8 horses. So in summary, the cost of this large horse carriage is 8,000 gold coins. The reporters looked at each other, not knowing what to say. Sue took out the real data, so they couldn't refute it at all. After talking about the investment cost, let's talk about the cost of maintaining operations. Sue continued. According to the data I obtained from President Pompey, if you want to use that large carriage, you'll need to spend at least 20 gold coins to feed the 8 horses every day. As for the maintenance of the large horse carriage, it costs 2,000 gold coins a year. On average, it costs over 50 gold coins a day. In summary, if you want to use this large horse carriage, it costs at least 70 gold coins a day. The further it goes, the more it costs. Then Chairman Sue, how much does your large transport magic car cost each day? The reporter under the stage immediately asked. This large transport magic car costs 2 parts, one of which is daily maintenance. With the current maintenance standard of our company, if there aren't any large accidents, the maintenance cost of this large transport magic car is around 300 to 500 gold coins a year. That little? The reporters didn't believe it. Doesn't that mean it's around 1 gold coin a day on average? This is already considered a lot. Sue shook his head. If our company makes a breakthrough in the magic car technology in the future, the maintenance cost will be lowered even further. Then what about the other part of the cost? The horses of the horse carriage need to eat grass, so your transport magic car can't run without anything, right? Another reporter asked. Of course, if you want the horses to run, you have to make the horses eat grass. I think that you should all know that the magic car consumes magic crystals to run. Then for this large transport magic car, naturally it doesn't have anything else to do, it also consumes magic crystals. According to our company's internal testing standards, this large transport magic car consumes 13 exascals of magic per 100 kilometers at normal speed. If we use the number 1 standard magic crystal that our company has recently refined, the total cost is 13 gold coins. This means that to pull 10 tons of cargo and run 100 kilometers, it only costs 13 gold coins. The reporters under the stage had looks of disbelief. Sue revealed a faint smile. There is another important factor, which is speed. If it's carrying 10 tons of cargo, this large transport magic car can maintain a speed of 40 kilometers per hour on normal road. What about the horse carriage? The reporters looked at each other before revealing knowing smiles. Horse carriage? Not to mention carrying 10 tons of cargo, even if it was empty, it could only go 30 kilometers in an hour. Seeing the reactions of the reporters under the stage, Sue spread his hands. Now, tell me, why can't I look down on horse carriages? The reporters laughed in unison. After a while, that tabloid reporter suddenly raised his hand again. Chairman Sue, I've asked you several questions about the magic car. Now I have a personal question about you that I want to ask you. It's related to your daughter that has just been born. Are you willing to answer? The other reporters looked at him with knitted brows, as their eyes couldn't help revealing a trace of disdain. This was the new Flyer's product announcement. What personal question did he come here to ask? However, hearing that it was related to Sue-Yi's new daughter, all the reporters' expressions froze. They all turned to Sue-Yi with eyes filled with expectation. It really came. Sue-Yi revealed an understanding smile as he gave a slight nod. My mood today is good, so I can. Please ask. All right. Chairman Sue, I heard that you made your daughter your sole successor the day she was born. Is this true? Chapter 502. Sue-Yi didn't hesitate at all. He smiled and nodded, yes. Hearing Sue-Yi's affirmative answer, the reporters below the stage suddenly went into an uproar. A moment later, a bunch of hands were raised in the air. Chairman Sue, are you sure you want your daughter to be your sole heir? Chairman Sue, when you say sole heir, do you mean that other than your daughter, your other descendants won't inherit any of your assets? Chairman Sue, if you have another son in the future, won't you consider letting him inherit your assets? Chairman Sue, when the excitement of the reporters under the stage subsided and they calmed down, they all focused on him. Sue-Yi revealed a smile and asked back, Why are you all reacting like this? She's my daughter. What's wrong with her being my heir? The main point is soul. A reporter below the stage shouted, Chairman Sue, soul means that you don't plan on leaving your assets to your other children. I think your understanding is a bit off. Sue-Yi shook his head. The only heir means that my daughter is the only one who can inherit my title. As for the assets, that's another matter. Title? The reporters were all stunned. It has nothing to do with the assets? Then what about the position of president of New Flyer? Does it have nothing to do with that? Sue-Yi looked at the reporter who asked this question with a surprised look. New Flyer doesn't belong to me alone. Why should my children inherit the position of president? Even if New Flyer really belongs to me alone, the position of president should be given to someone with ability. If my children aren't outstanding in business, could it be that I want to watch the Frestec Chamber of Commerce decline in their hands? The reporters thought about it and felt that Sue-Yi's words made sense. However, it didn't match the tradition of signs. According to tradition, for a large company like the Frestec Chamber of Commerce that Sue-Yi had absolute control over, Sue-Yi definitely wasn't willing to give it to outsiders. No matter what, he would nurture his successor to become the next president and let the New Flyer control the New Flyer from behind the scenes. Judging from Sue-Yi's attitude, the second option was the most likely one. After all, if his children inherited his title, they would also be nobles. His children probably wouldn't be as special as Sue-Yi, who could be a noble and a merchant at the same time. Therefore, it was most feasible to control him from behind the scenes. Thinking of this, the reporters suddenly felt relieved. However, even though this problem could be solved, there were still more problems. Chairman Sue, you said that your title will be inherited by your daughter in the future. Why don't you consider leaving it to your son? A reporter asked. Many people say that you're doing this to show your support for Her Highness 70, is that true? This question was what the reporters really cared about. If Su Yi's answer was yes, it meant that he was officially showing everyone his support for Her Highness 70. It also meant that the new flyer would be included in Her Highness 70's camp. Although Su Yi didn't do this and everyone thought the same, before Su Yi made his position clear, the new flyer could change their position at any time and they could have a buffer on many things. After Su Yi made his position clear, it would be hard for the new flyer to change. Su Yi doing this was equal to placing all his bets on Her Highness 70. Once Her Highness 70 didn't take the throne and His Highness Eric became the next king, it could be imagined what would happen to Su Yi and the new flyer. So although Su Yi had only confirmed his daughter as his only successor, and it seemed like a private matter, because of Su Yi's sensitive identity and the importance of the new flyer, this matter wasn't just a family matter. There were too many factors involved. How could Su Yi not know what the reporters were thinking, and he understood the meaning of their questions? But he had thought it through before making this choice, so naturally he wouldn't panic when facing this question. First, I don't have a son right now, Su Yi said with a faint smile. Second, even if I have a new love crystal with steel in the future and it's a son, since I've already decided on my successor, there won't be any changes. This is because the more important an issue is, the more it can't be changed or it won't be good for anyone. I hope that my children can live in harmony, and I'm not willing to see them be dissatisfied with each other or even fight each other because of the unclear inheritance. The reporters under the stage opened their eyes wide, and their eyes were filled with shock. Chairman Su, can I take your words as an accusation against His Majesty? A reporter couldn't help asking in a loud voice. Su Yi revealed a faint smile and spread his hands. This is your own understanding, it isn't related to me. The reporters didn't care about Su Yi's vague words, they all wrote down Su Yi's answer word for word in their notebook. After a while, another reporter asked, Chairman Su, you still haven't answered the last question. You deliberately chose your daughter as the only successor to show your support for Her Highness 70, right? You can think of it like this because this does include a part of my thoughts. Su Yi nodded. But for me, this is my first child with steel, so it is very important in my heart. When I saw her being born, I couldn't wait to give her everything I had. As for my title, chairman, and other things, they aren't important. This is a father's normal thoughts, I think you should be able to understand. Although the reporters had recorded the second half of Su Yi's answer, compared to this, there was no doubt that his first affirmative answer was more important. Su Yi confirming the questions of the reporters meant that he really did support Her Highness 70 through his decision. With the importance of the new flyer to the Lampari Kingdom, Her Highness 70 receiving Su Yi's full support was equal to adding an important chip to Her Highness 70's side. It would be very helpful for Her Highness 70 to inherit the throne. But there was a flaw in Su Yi's method, which was that by doing this, he was clearly provoking the king. Could it be that he wasn't worried that this method would cause disgust from the king and make the king more inclined to let His Highness Eric inherit the throne? It's fine if those stupid reporters think this, but why do you also think this, Dima? Lampuri 13th had just finished speaking when he began coughing violently again. Although winter was already over, Lampuri 13th's body didn't seem to get better and was still very weak. Although he didn't stay in his bedroom every day like it was winter, he didn't leave his room much. Deciding the successor to the throne is related to the entire kingdom. How could I be swayed by my emotions? Whether it is Eric, 70, or Mayim, to decide who will take over my position as king, it will depend on who can contribute the most to the kingdom. It shouldn't be decided by my personal preferences. Dima gave a slight nod before saying, But Your Majesty, I feel that Su Yi is right about one thing. being able to find a successor as soon as possible and not letting His Highness Eric and the others fight for the throne, whether it is for you, for them, or even for the entire kingdom, it is very beneficial. Why didn't you decide this earlier? Are you blaming me? Lampuri 13th revealed a faint smile before giving a deep sigh. You think I don't want to do this? But the royal family wasn't a small family like Su Yi's. The successor was an important decision that was related to many things, so how could they easily choose a candidate? Didn't Su Yi say it already? If his children aren't capable enough, he can't just let them have the new flyer and watch them ruin the new flyer, right? But Su Yi can give the new flyer to others to manage, but you can't give the entire kingdom to others. In the end, this throne can only be inherited by one of your children. So, Dima paused before gritting his teeth, like he had made his decision. Your Majesty, please make a decision as soon as possible. If you're late, I'm afraid. Lampuri 13th silently looked at Dima for a while before slowly shaking his head. Dima, you never took the initiative to express your opinion on this matter before. Why are you so active today? Dima revealed a bitter smile and didn't reply. Lampuri 13th gave another sigh. All right, I understand what you mean. You're worried about my body, right? Do you think that I can't hold on for much longer? Dima lowered his head and after a while, he slowly looked up again. There were 2 lines of hot tears on his face and his voice was choked up. Your Majesty, I can only watch as you become weaker day by day, but I can't think of a way to save you. I really am filled with pain. I know that the most important thing in your heart is the kingdom, so I hope that you can quickly decide on the most important thing for the kingdom. Then you can put down your worries. Good. Spend my final days well. Lampuri 13th revealed a faint smile. He waved his hand at Dima, signaling for him to come over. When Dima came over, Lampuri 13th suddenly raised his arm and slapped it out. Puh! Dima covered his burning face and looked at Lampuri 13th in surprise. What? Am I already a dead person who is about to be buried in the ground in your eyes? Lampuri 13th, who had been very weak during this time, was like an enraged lion. Although he was still weak, he was very powerful and people couldn't resist him at all. I am the king of this kingdom. I don't need the pity of others, and I'm not qualified to be pitied by others. Since I am the king, I have to shoulder the responsibility of the king. Choosing the most suitable successor for this kingdom is my last and most important responsibility, and I will do my best to fulfill this responsibility. So as long as I'm not dead, I have to do my best to consider this matter. Do you understand? Dima looked at Lampuri 13th in a daze before slowly nodding after a while. Yes, Your Majesty. I have offended you, please forgive me. Lampuri 13th gave a strong snort before reaching his hand out to Dima. I've already finished reading the matter on Seveni's side. Go and bring the report from the northern province over. Let me see what that kid Eric has been doing during this time. Chapter 503. The kingdom's north was naturally different from the south. Banta City was already in the spring season, but Loren City, that was less than 200 kilometers away from the northern border, still didn't have the chill of winter. But at this moment, His Highness Eric's heart was burning. Not only did it easily surpass this trace of coldness, it even surpassed spring. It was as hot as the summer, boiling hot. It was time to make a contribution. Looking at the well-equipped, energetic, and well-dressed Northern Army soldiers on the plain outside the city, Prince Eric felt more confident than he had ever been before. He even felt that as long as he brought these 30,000 Northern Army soldiers, he could head north. Not only would he break through the gates of the Sac Kingdom, he could even kill his way into the Sac Kingdom's capital and subdue the entire Sac Kingdom under his iron hoof. At that time, with his unparalleled military achievements, who would be qualified to compete for the throne with him? However, his reason told him that this wasn't realistic. The reason why the Northern Battlefront Army was so powerful was that the nobles in the kingdom had been sending all kinds of resources to them that had solved the logistical problem of the Northern Battlefront Army. The Northern Battlefront Army looked refreshed, and they seemed to be much more powerful. But even like this, it was impossible to defeat the Sack Kingdom with just the 30,000 Northern Army soldiers. When he was discussing the strategy with Duke Stagg had clearly warned Eric that he shouldn't have extravagant hopes of defeating the Sack Kingdom. This was something that the Lampari Kingdom couldn't do in several hundred years, so even if he had strong support, it was impossible for him to do it. The reason for starting this war was to give His Highness Eric military achievements, adding a large chip for him to compete for the throne. So Eric's strategy this time was very clear, which was to defeat the Sack Kingdom's army a few times. He just needed to take some advantages from the Sack Kingdom, and he didn't need to go too deep into the Sack Kingdom. As long as he had military achievements from defeating the Sack Kingdom, it would be enough for him to have a very strong chip. If he really wanted to defeat the Sack Kingdom, he would be asking for trouble. Duke Stagg's advice flashed in his mind, and His Highness Eric couldn't help slightly knitting his brows as he gave a soft snort. The reason why we couldn't defeat the Sack Kingdom before was because you nobles weren't willing to contribute your strength. When I inherit the throne, I will definitely grasp the entire kingdom in my hands. When I use the strength of the entire kingdom, I don't believe that I can't defeat the Sack Kingdom. Of course, His Highness Eric only dared to have this thought. He never revealed it at all. He was relying on the support of the large nobles led by Duke Stagg to have the advantage in inheriting the throne. Otherwise, with his current power, not to mention trying to obtain military achievements from the Sack Kingdom to compete for the throne, it would be hard for him to maintain his 5,000 private guards. Thinking of the 5,000 private guards, Prince Eric glanced over the Northern Army and saw a square formation on the other side. His frown deepened. The square formation was crooked. Compared to the standard square formation of the Northern Battlefront Army, which looked like it was drawn with a ruler, this square formation was much worse. Moreover, the soldiers in the square formation were lazy and had a decadent aura around them. It was much worse compared to the Northern Army soldiers, who had high morale and looked energetic. In these months, His Highness Eric had spent most of his time in the military camp. He was no longer a layman who didn't know anything about military matters. The current him could tell with a single glance that if his 5,000 private guards faced the same number of Northern Army soldiers, he was certain that his 5,000 private guards would be defeated without being able to resist at all. But this was something that couldn't be helped. Although his royal father had announced him as one of the successors and he had 5,000 private guards, because of his limited strength, it was impossible for him to raise this many private guards. These 5,000 people were forcefully gathered from the private armies of the nobles who supported him, so one could imagine their quality. His Highness Eric didn't trust these 5,000 people, so naturally he didn't attach importance to them. Of course he hoped that he could train 5,000 people because that would be considered his own strength. But his strength was too weak right now, and the main reason was that he didn't have money, so he didn't have the ability to consider these things. Thinking of this, His Highness Eric couldn't help feeling a bit of envy and jealousy towards Seveni. According to the information he received, Seveni's 5,000 private guards had already been recruited. But it was different from his 5,000 private guards that didn't have any battle strength. Seveni's 5,000 private guards were elites chosen from the private armies of the nobles who supported her, so their battle strength was completely different from the trash under him. The other part was recruited by Seveni herself. With Seveni's good reputation in the kingdom and adding in the good treatment her private guards provided, the private guards she recruited were very strong and had decent battle strength. The most important thing was that Seveni's 5,000 private guards were equipped with the standard military magic machines provided by New Flyer. In terms of pure battle strength, Perhaps a single soldier of Seveny's private guards could fight several soldiers of the Northern Army, not to mention His Highness Eric's private guards. Moreover, other than the individual military magic machines, the Frestec Chamber of Commerce had also equipped Seveny's personal guards with several new magic trebuchets. There were also some military magic machines with unknown uses, but they were definitely powerful. Like this, with the same 5,000 people, Seveny's private guards and Eric's private guards had a heaven and earth difference in battle strength. The most important reason for this large gap was the Frestec Chamber of Commerce. Thinking of this, His Highness Eric had a bit of regret in his heart. When Viscount Leslie met him in Lauren City, he had advised him that he didn't need to oppose New Flyer because Sue supported the development of the Lampari Kingdom, so he wouldn't reject cooperating with His Highness Eric. His Highness Eric wanted to show a clear difference between him and Seveny, so he didn't consider Viscount Leslie's suggestion at all. Later, Delacaton City's Count Michel also sent a letter to suggest cooperating with New Flyer, but His Highness Eric also rejected it. When the news came a few days ago, Sue had made his position clear to everyone at New Flyer's product announcement, clearly showing that he supported Her Highness Seveny. This meant that His Highness Eric had no chance of cooperating with Sue and New Flyer. His Highness Eric didn't care that much when he heard this news a few days ago. He even laughed at Sue's stupidity in his heart. But now that he thought of the difference in battle strength between his private guards and Seveny's private guards, as well as the powerful support the Xinfei Chamber of Commerce could provide, he found that he might have really missed something. But now that things were like this, His Highness Eric knew that he couldn't turn back, and there was no meaning in regret. Since Sue had expressed his support for Seveny, His Highness Eric could only draw a clear line with him. Otherwise, it would arouse the suspicions and dissatisfaction of the large nobles who supported him, which would be bad for him. It's fine, when my military merits are in my hands and I take the throne, the entire kingdom will be under my control. A trivial New Flyer, isn't it at my mercy? His Highness Eric clenched his fists, and a confident smile appeared on his face again. Your Highness, it's about time. You should prepare to mobilize the troops before the battle. Count Stark on the side reminded him in a small voice. Before His Highness Eric came, Count Stark was the city lord of Lauren City. He had only been the city lord of Banta City for a year before being transferred here. He thought that he would stay in Lauren City for a long time before being transferred to another place, but he never thought that in less than a month, His Highness Eric would come out of nowhere and take the city lord position from him. Although Count Stark had already received his family's orders and followed his family's will, doing his best to support His Highness Eric during this time, as time passed, Count Stark found that he was more and more doubtful of his family's decision to support His Highness Eric. It should be said that His Highness Eric wasn't a muddle-headed fellow. Rather, he was a smart person and was very generous, as well as being humble and eager to learn. After coming to Lauren City for half a year, he had gained a certain amount of prestige and had built a foundation in the Northern Army, so his performance could be considered quite good. But after being by His Highness Eric's side for a long time, Count Stark found that he had a very clear shortcoming. It was that he was too stubborn, and it could even be considered conceited. As long as he was certain of something, no matter what other people said, he wouldn't accept it. Even if he acted like he was considering things on the surface, in the end, he would still stick to his own ideas and wouldn't be swayed at all. This point was very clear in his attitude towards the Frestec Chamber of Commerce. After being the city lord of Banta City for a year, Count Stark's impression of Sue was completely different from before. When he left Banta City, his impression of Sue had completely changed. He wasn't filled with hostility towards Sue like when he first came to Banta City. Not only did he realize the value of Sue and the Xinfei Chamber of Commerce, he also seriously considered the possibility of the Stag family cooperating with Sue. Because of this idea, Count Stark had suggested to His Highness Eric to consider cooperating with the new flyer and not completely reject them. But His Highness Eric had rejected Count Stark's suggestion and even suspected that after being the city lord of Banta City for a year, he had been bewitched by Sue to make this suggestion that went against the Stag family. From that moment on, Count Stark knew that His Highness Eric had lost any chance of cooperating with the new flyer, and it was also impossible for the Stag family. Looking at the high-spirited northern army outside the city that seemed to be very strong, Count Stark gave a deep sigh in his heart. Even if we don't cooperate with the new flyer, as long as we buy the military magic machines from the new flyer, the northern army's battle strength will definitely soar, right? Rejecting the new flyer like this, is it really good? Chapter 504. While the Northern Army was preparing for battle, the Sac Kingdom's army to the north of the Muerto Mountains naturally wasn't idle. His Highness Eric didn't hide his intention to lead the Northern Army to attack the Sac Kingdom at all, so naturally it couldn't escape the Sac Kingdom's eyes. Even if the Sac Kingdom always had the absolute advantage over the Lampari Kingdom, the Sac Kingdom didn't dare underestimate this rare counterattack from the Lampari Kingdom. Because His Highness Eric had obtained the support of many large nobles in the Lampari Kingdom, his strength far surpassed the Northern Army that had fought the Sac Kingdom's Hungry Wolf Regiment. Adding in the fact that the Northern Army had displayed a powerful battle strength in their counterattack on the Muerto Mountains last year, even forcing the Sac Kingdom to give up the Muerto Mountains. If this year's Northern Army had such a powerful battle strength, adding in the powerful logistical support of His Highness Eric with the support of many large nobles, the Sac Kingdom definitely wouldn't be able to resist them. But for the Hungry Wolf Regiment's commander Chalon Linear, there was a decisive piece of good news. It was that through the reports, because the new Flyers chairman Sue had expressed his support for Her Highness 70 a month ago, in order to show that he had a different stance, His Highness Eric had refused to purchase soldiers and military magic machines from the new flyer. In the current Northern Army, other than the military magic machines they bought last year, there were some military magic machines that the Lampari Kingdom's army headquarters had bought from the new flyer and given to the Northern Army. The Lampari Kingdom's army headquarters had always been poor, and adding in the fact that the Lampari Kingdom's King Lampuri XIII had always been very greedy towards His Highness Eric's counterattack, the army headquarters didn't give the Northern Army that many military magic machines, so it couldn't increase the battle strength of the Northern Army. Commander Linear's greatest worry for the Northern Army came from these mysterious military magic machines, especially those powerful magic trebuchets, which he still couldn't find a way to deal with. If Prince Eric relied on the full support of those large nobles to equip the Northern Army and his other troops with military magic machines, Linear didn't even have the confidence to resist. Haha, it's a good thing that this prince is an idiot. Talking about different sides in a war is simply breaking one's own hands and feet. Linear slapped the map on the table and laughed loudly. When this idiot leads the poor Northern Army here, brothers, we must teach them a lesson and avenge last year. The other officers of the Hungry Wolf Legion in the meeting room cheered. Seeing the morale of his colleagues high, Linear nodded with satisfaction. Although they were caught off guard by the Lampari Kingdom's northern battlefront army last year and even lost the Muerto Mountains, but because they had the absolute advantage over the Lampari Kingdom for a long time, the Sac Kingdom, especially the soldiers of the Hungry Wolf Regiment, had a sense of superiority over the Lampari Kingdom. Their defeat last year made everyone's fighting spirit even higher, and they vowed to wash away the shame of last year in this battle. After discussing the details of the defense with a few of his subordinates, Chief of Staff Ivy Joao opened the door and walked in. Following behind him were a few of his personal guards. Linear's eyes couldn't help being attracted by the thing that Joao's personal guard was holding. What is this thing? Seeing the square thing in the guard's hand that looked like a box wrapped in iron that was glowing with silver light, Linear asked in a surprised voice. Good thing. Joao revealed a faint smile. He had the guard place the iron box on an iron shelf on the wall of the room before taking out a small, white rectangular box made of an unknown material from his pocket. He asked Linear, "Hey Linear, do you feel hot or cold in this room?" Linear was even more confused. "What do you want to do?" "You'll know in a moment." Joao shook the small white box in his hand. Joao waved his hand. "Tell me first, do you feel hot or cold?" Linear knit his brows and looked at Joao with a bit of confusion. But he had worked with Joao for many years and he definitely wasn't someone who fooled around, so after thinking about it, he pulled his collar a bit. "There are too many people in this room, I feel a bit stuffy, so it's a bit hot." "Hot, right?" Joao turned to look at the others in the room. "What about you? Do you also feel hot?" The others all nodded. There were over 10 large men in this small room, and adding in the fact that it was early spring, the weather had already warmed up, so naturally they felt a bit hot. "Alright, since it's hot, we need to cool it down a bit. Let me see, how does the refrigeration work?" Joao looked at the rectangular white box in his hand for a while, fiddling with it for a while. Then, he pointed it at the iron box hanging on the wall and pressed it gently. Ding! With a soft, clear, and pleasant sound, the iron box on the wall suddenly lit up with a bit of red light. Then in front of everyone, the bottom half of the iron sheet slowly moved up and revealed a dark hole. Just as everyone was wondering, a red ribbon hanging from the bottom of the opened iron sheet suddenly fluttered, as if it was suddenly blown by the wind. Then, everyone felt a cool breeze hit them in the face, immediately dispersing the stuffy heat in everyone's body. Feeling the cool breeze coming from the iron box, Linear's heart skipped a beat as he asked Joao, "Hey Joao, this thing. It wouldn't be that magic air conditioner, right? I remember mentioning it in the Frestec Chamber of Commerce's report last time." "That's right, it's the magic air conditioner." Joao nodded with a smile. "How is it? Do you feel much better?" "It does feel much better, but where did you get this thing?" Linear asked with knit brows. "It's impossible for the new flyer to come to our Sack Kingdom to sell things, right?" Joao looked at him and didn't reply. He put away the white box in his hand and looked over the others in the room. The others understood his meaning, and after giving a bow to the two of them, they left. Seeing Joao's actions, Linear knit his brows even more. After the others left, he immediately asked, "What is it? Is there a problem with the origin of this magic air conditioner?" "Of course." Joao nodded. "If there isn't a problem, how could this thing from the new flyer appear here?" "That's right." Linear reacted, and after thinking about it, he asked, "Then where did this thing come from? If my guesses aren't wrong, it should be those damn merchants who smuggled it from the Lampari Kingdom, right?" "It is indeed smuggled, but you can't look down on those merchants this time. If it wasn't for their help, we wouldn't have been able to obtain such easy-to-use magic machines from the new flyer. Could it be that you don't think that this magic air conditioner is very good?" Linear looked at the magic air conditioner on the wall that was blowing cool air before looking at the white box that Joao had placed on the table that should be the remote control. He shook his head. "It is easy to use, but these things aren't necessary for us. Rather, if we smuggle New Flyer's things, wouldn't we be letting New Flyer earn money? There aren't any benefits to this." "What? You want to call on the entire kingdom to boycott the Frestec Chamber of Commerce's products?" Joao looked at Linear and gave a laugh. Linear looked at Joao with a sneer. "Let me tell you, that's impossible. Chairman Walker, who gave this magic air conditioner to me, said that these new flyer household magic machines that he smuggled from the Lampari Kingdom were all sold out a month ahead of time. He just needs to transport these goods back, and he will earn a large amount." Linear gave a strong snort. He only cares about making money for himself, but he never thought that he would also be making money for New Flyer? If it was up to me, he would be helping the enemy commit treason. Joao gave a sigh and slowly shook his head. "You shouldn't be so narrow-minded. Actually, we can also obtain many benefits from this. Think about it, those military magic machines are produced by New Flyer, and those household magic machines are also produced by New Flyer. After obtaining these household magic machines, perhaps those old men of the Magic Academy can obtain some inspiration from these household magic machines, which will be very helpful to them in developing the military magic machines. What? This is the arrangement of the army headquarters? Linear asked back. Yes. Joao nodded in confirmation. Joao nodded. Other than importing a batch of New Flyer goods, allowing the Magic Academy to obtain some research materials, we can also directly contact New Flyer through these transactions. You don't need me to tell you what benefits you can obtain from this, right? Linear thought for a bit before giving a nod. All right, I can understand the arrangements of the army headquarters. But according to what you just said, there are many people in the kingdom who want to buy the Frestec Chamber of Commerce's household magic machines. Wouldn't the Frestec Chamber of Commerce take a large amount of money from them? This doesn't seem good no matter how you look at it, right? Joao gave a shrug. There's no other way, New Flyer's things are just that easy to use. Not to mention them, even I move. Right, I'm planning on having Chairman Walker bring some New Flyer's magic machines to our army next time. I just don't know if he can get them or not. Linear was surprised. What do we need those household magic machines for? No, I don't agree. Don't reject it so quickly. Joao smiled and took out a piece of paper from his bosom. Joao revealed a faint smile. Look, this is an introduction to the various magic machines produced by New Flyer. Look, perhaps the magic air conditioner doesn't need to be equipped by the entire army, but I think we should get at least 10,000 of these magic lamps, right? Because it's easy to turn them on and off, there's no need to make a fire. It just needs a few magic crystals to last for a long time. There's also this magic refrigerator. It's almost summer, so the Army Headquarters Logistics Department needs to transport the meat and vegetables ahead of time. They need to be transported every once in a while, so it costs quite a bit on the road. If we have this magic refrigerator, we can store it for a bit longer and save quite a bit on transport costs. Speaking of transport, look at this transport magic car. This thing can carry several tons of cargo. It's the same as several large horse carriages. Moreover, this thing is much sturdier and faster than horse carriages. If the logistics department uses this transport magic car, we won't need to worry about logistics in the future. Of course, this thing is too big, so it wouldn't be easy to smuggle it in. There's also this magic stove. I feel that this thing is necessary. Because it doesn't need to be used, it can be used as a stove. With the magic rice cooker, it'll be countless times easier to make a fire. Whether it is in the army or in the wild, it's very useful. Of course, there's also this. Hearing Joao's introduction of the magic machines, although Linear was still struggling with the idea of helping the enemy, he couldn't help being attracted by Joao's introduction. Even if it was him, he had to admit it. The magic machines the Frestec Chamber of Commerce made, they really were too damn easy to use. Chapter 505. No. Su-yi slowly shook his head. Although his expression was calm and he even had a faint smile, his voice was very firm, making it very easy for people to understand the meaning behind his word. For normal household magic machines, I can squeeze out a bit more for you, but the magic cars can't even satisfy the needs of Banta City and the surrounding cities, so of course I can't give them to you. The Myrta Trading Company's chairman Lattice Sampson had a disappointed look. You really can't make an exception? Chairman Su, I came all the way from Seoul City. You can't let me go back empty-handed, right? How could you be empty-handed? Su-yi pretended to be surprised. Didn't I say that we can discuss the normal household magic machines and even consider the bicycles that are in high demand, but the magic cars really can't? Our company can't satisfy the basic requirements of the local market, and we still owe a large order, so we can't accept any more orders. But the Sack Kingdom side said that as long as your new flyer is willing to sell, they can even buy it for 10,000 gold coins. Chairman Sampson still didn't give up. 10,000 gold coins for one. Chairman Su, your large transport magic car is only selling for 5,000 gold coins, right? If you're willing to sell it for 10,000 gold coins, even if you take away the transportation costs and the possible risks, you can earn at least 2,000 gold coins per car. Aren't you moved by this? I'm very moved. Sui nodded, but his tone didn't soften at all. But no means no. Our company's production capacity is limited, so we can't supply them. Is it really like this? Chairman Sampson looked at Sui with a doubtful look. After pausing, he said with a pleading look, Chairman Su, can't you squeeze out a part of the order from this side? The other side is very interested in the transport magic cars, so if you can satisfy their request, I think it will be very beneficial for our future cooperation with them. Using some transport magic cars to strengthen the relationship between both sides, I think it's very worth it. Sui gave a sigh and spread his hands as he said with a helpless look, if possible, I also want to. But the reality was that it was impossible. All right, President Sampson, let's not talk about this anymore. Let's talk about the other types of magic machines you've ordered. Seeing that Sui was completely unmoved, President Sampson felt helpless. After a moment of silence, he could only shake his head regretfully. All right, according to the information from that side, the Sack Kingdom side has a strong demand for household magic machines, with the magic fans having the highest demand. So Chairman Su, I ask you to give me enough magic fans this time. I think it can't be less than 100,000 units. 100,000 units. Sui was a little surprised and couldn't help but laugh. It seems like after the people of the Sack Kingdom experience the benefits, their demand has exploded. It can't be helped. The weather is getting hotter. The magic air conditioner is rather expensive and not everyone can afford it, so the magic fan is the most popular household magic machine. Chairman Sampson also said with a smile. Actually, it's very similar to the situation in our Soul City. Your new flyer production base has only changed the foundation and there are already people in the city who want to order magic fans ahead of time. This is a good thing. As a merchant, seeing my products being popular, of course I'm happy. Sui said with a smile. Of course. President Sampson nodded. So, Chairman Su, 100,000 magic fans is the minimum. As for the others, you need at least 5,000 magic rice cookers and around 5,000 magic stoves. As for the magic lamps, the demand is even higher, so you need at least 200,000 units. You also need to have a complete variety, including... Wait. Sui suddenly raised his hand to cut off Chairman Sampson. What's wrong? President Sampson was taken aback and frowned. Chairman Sampson knit his brows. Chairman Su, is there a problem? Could it be that you want to tell me that these normal household magic machines, you can't even satisfy my request? That's not it. Sui shook his head. Of course, accurately speaking, you aren't wrong. Chairman Sampson was stunned before becoming a bit angry. Chairman Su, you wouldn't be playing with me, right? Didn't you just say to me that we can discuss these household magic machines? Now that I've just placed an order, you're saying that you can't satisfy it? Don't forget, you were the one who took the initiative to cooperate with our Soul City company to smuggle your company's magic machines to the Sack Kingdom. Now that we've just started cooperating, you have this kind of attitude? I've really misjudged you. Sui wasn't moved at all. He waved his hand and said with a faint smile, Don't be angry, let me finish first. My meaning is that although our new flyer can provide all the goods you've requested, I hope that Chairman Sampson can consider another cooperation plan. That is to give a portion to other companies other than our Shinfei company. Other merchant guilds? Sampson was puzzled. Chairman Sampson was a bit confused. Chairman Su, it's impossible that you don't know the profits from selling to the Sac Kingdom, right? You want me to give a portion of the profits to other companies? Could it be that your new flyer doesn't want to earn money? Earn money, of course we want to earn money, Su-yi said with a smile, but I'm not just thinking about our new flyer earning money, rather we should all earn money together. What do you think? Chairman Sampson looked at Su-yi for a while before shaking his head with a doubtful look. I really don't understand what Chairman Su is thinking. If you took the initiative to propose this, it isn't impossible since the household magic machines of the other companies are cheaper. Although the quality and performance are a bit worse than your Shinfei brand, those fellows in the Sac Kingdom can't tell, so I can earn more by selling to them. But Chairman Su, if you do this, your new flyer's profits will decrease by quite a bit. Are you certain you want to do this? I'm certain. Su-yi nodded, not looking like he was joking at all. Moreover, I have another request, which is that according to the pricing of the various brands of magic machines in our Lampuri Kingdom, the various brands of magic machines sold to the Sac Kingdom should also have the same pricing. That means, even if it's sold in the Sac Kingdom, your Frestek brand household magic machines are sold at a higher price than the other brands? Chairman Sampson had a confused look. Chairman Sampson was a bit confused. Chairman Su, the people of the Sac Kingdom have never used household magic machines before, so when they see the same thing, they will definitely buy the cheaper ones. Don't blame me for not reminding you, if you do this, it won't be good for your Shinfei brand to open the market in the Sac Kingdom. I understand this is the sales strategy of our company. Chairman Sampson looked at this for a while before he couldn't help shaking his head. He said with a sigh, Chairman Su, I really can't understand you. Su-yi laughed and didn't comment on this at all. After considering it, Chairman Sampson finally accepted Su-yi's suggestion. After all, it was like he had reminded Su-yi, if he chose other brands of household magic machines, the cost of purchasing them would be much lower. If he sold them to the Sac Kingdom, the profit would be much higher, so he was clearly more willing to cooperate with this method. But of course he wouldn't give up on the new flyer's products. In the end, the Shinfei brand household magic machines were much better than the other brands, whether it was in terms of performance or quality. Even if the price was a bit more expensive, there was still a large demand in the Sac Kingdom, so he didn't need to worry about sales. In short, the Sac Kingdom only had scattered household magic machines before. For New Flyer to work with several companies led by the Myerda Trading Company to smuggle large amounts of household magic machines into the Sac Kingdom, this was the first time this had happened. The people of the Sac Kingdom were like the people of the Lampari Kingdom before New Flyer appeared, they were very curious about this new thing. Moreover, after seeing the divine properties of the household magic machines, they would definitely chase after them like the people of the Lampari Kingdom. Actually, if it wasn't for the fact that the Lampari Kingdom and the Sac Kingdom were enemies, the Sac Kingdom would be the same as the Kingdom of Ruhr, with all kinds of magic machines. After deciding on this cooperation, Su-yi gave the list he had prepared to Chairman Sampson for him to look over. On this list were the companies that Su-yi recommended that also produced household magic machines. If Chairman Sampson wanted to buy other brands of household magic machines, naturally he would choose from this list. Su-yi had spent quite a bit of effort to decide on this list. As the chairman of the Banta City Magic Machine Business Union, of course he had to consider the companies of Banta City first. But in order to take care of everything, as well as to fulfill his agreement with the king, Su-yi had to consider the other companies that produced household magic machines in other cities. While satisfying the needs of this side, Su-yi had to ensure that Chairman Sampson's benefits wouldn't be harmed. So when choosing these companies, Su-yi had to investigate the household magic machines of each company, making sure that there weren't any serious quality problems with the household magic machines they produced. Although Su-yi had taken the initiative to give these companies a chance to enter a large market, it was also a challenge for them. If there was a problem with the quality, it would leave a bad impression on the SAC kingdom of these companies, which wouldn't be good for their future development. As for Chairman Sampson's face, naturally he wouldn't have any objections to this list. He didn't know much about the magic machine industry, so other than the New Flyer, he didn't know any other magic machine companies. Moreover, Sue was the one in charge of this cooperation, so what he could do was at most do a random check from this list and carefully choose. After discussing this with Chairman Sampson and agreeing to go with him to the companies on the list tomorrow, according to etiquette, Sue should have invited Chairman Sampson to a banquet. But Sue explained this to Chairman Sampson before calling Kennard over to continue receiving Chairman Sampson. He also discussed the details of ordering the Shinfei brand household magic machines with Chairman Sampson before leaving the Falling Rain Valley. In Banta City, there were more important things waiting for him. Chapter 506. New Flyer's newest bright white magic sedan slowly drove into the Falling Star Manor. The magic sedan stopped in the parking lot behind the gate. Sue opened the door and walked out. He couldn't help looking at the pure black magic sedan on the side and seeing the deep dent in the side door. He couldn't help giving a laugh as he shook his head. This magic sedan was Great Magician Camilla's personal car, and it had been in his hands for a full month. However, in just a single month, this magic sedan that cost 9,999 gold coins was riddled with holes. Not only was there all kinds of scratches on the surface, there were even large and small potholes on the body of the car. It could be seen what kind of abuse it had suffered in a single month. A month ago, New Flyer had released the magic sedan at their product announcement. Because of its comfort and speed, not only did it receive the praise of the nobles and merchants of Banta City, it was also welcomed by the nobles and merchants of the other cities of the Lampari Kingdom. In just a single month, the Frestec Chamber of Commerce had received over 3,000 orders for magic sedans. According to the price of 9,999 gold coins per magic sedan, just based on the magic sedan, New Flyer had earned over 30 million gold coins. Moreover, when the magic sedan was developed, it was aimed at the high-end market, so the price was simply too high. Actually, the cost of a single magic sedan was less than 4,000 gold coins. This meant that with just a single magic sedan, New Flyer could earn a large profit of over 6,000 gold coins. If there were 3,000 of them, that would be a terrifying 18 million gold coins. When Seabass made this statistic, other than Sue who was already mentally prepared, the other high-level members of New Flyer were all stunned. Even Kennard, who came from the Emma family and knew more than normal people, was shocked by this number. It had to be known, even the Walmart Chamber of Commerce only had a net profit of less than 30 million gold coins a year. However, the Frestec Chamber of Commerce had received an order with a profit of 18 million gold coins in just a single month. Compared to this, New Flyer's profit creation speed was simply unparalleled. Of course, receiving orders in a single month didn't mean that New Flyer earned this much in just a single month. With New Flyer's pitiful production capacity of less than 100 magic sedans a month, it would take at least 2 years for them to earn a large profit of 18 million gold coins. As for production capacity, this was the thing that gave Sue the biggest headache. New Flyer didn't worry about not receiving orders at all. They had always been worried about too many orders and not having enough production capacity, so there were many orders that couldn't be finished in time. Although because of New Flyer's absolute lead, which was close to a monopoly, even if they couldn't finish the orders in time, the other side couldn't do anything and could only patiently wait. This wasn't a good sign. So even if Sue wasn't willing, from Kennard to the normal workers in New Flyer, they all took the initiative to work overtime. So now the factories in New Flyer didn't have any holidays and the average working time was very long. Although this meant that New Flyer's business was booming and Sue as the chairman should be happy to see this, from his personal point of view, he didn't want it to be like this. He still hoped that his workers could have normal rest time and not work all day long. Sooner or later, this would cause harm to their bodies. In an environment like Signs, it was impossible for him to force his workers not to work overtime, so he could only think of other ways to solve this problem. While thinking about this, Sue-Yi walked into the room. "Hey, you're back." Steele's voice pulled Sue-Yi out of his thoughts. He looked up and saw Steele sitting on the terrace outside the room. She was half lying on a deck chair and enjoying the strong but not hot sunlight of early spring. "Aren't you afraid of getting tanned?" Sue-Yi teased her and walked over. He leaned over and kissed her on the cheek. Then he picked up his sleeping daughter from the stroller next to him. Babies who were 1 month old grew up very quickly. It had only been a day, but Sue-Yi felt that she seemed to have grown a lot since yesterday. Her facial features were more defined and her face was rounder. Naturally, her appearance was more well-defined. "Steele, who do you think she looks more like?" Sue-Yi asked casually. Steele stood up and looked at the daughter in Sue-Yi's arms. She thought for a bit and said, "People say that daughters look more like their fathers. I think it's the same. Look at her facial features, they all look like yours. Look at her nose, it's just like yours." "Is that so?" Sue-Yi shook his head. "It's not good to look like me. She's a girl, so of course she should look like her mother. It's best if she grows up to be a beauty like you. Don't you think so, baby?" Although she was already tired of hearing praise for her appearance, Steele still revealed a happy smile. She teased her daughter's face and said with a faint smile, "If she really grows up and becomes beautiful, she will definitely move the hearts of countless boys. When that time comes, who knows which boy will benefit?" Sue-Yi's expression slightly changed and he gave a soft snort. "She's still young, there's no need to consider this kind of thing." Steele looked at Sue-Yi. Like she could see through Sue-Yi's thoughts, she pursed her lips into a smile. Sue-Yi looked at Steele. When he was about to speak, Great Magician Camilla came out of the room. "Hey kid, it's good that you're back, I was looking for you." Seeing the expression on Great Magician Camilla's face, Sue-Yi felt that something was wrong. However, he had nowhere to hide, so he could only brace himself and say with a smile, "I just saw your magic sedan in the yard, you really are back." "What? Do you need something from me?" "It's related to that magic sedan," Great Magician Camilla said with a nod. Great Magician Camilla nodded. "I don't know what happened, but this fellow couldn't start no matter how I tried. I asked Camby and he told me that there was a problem with the engine, so he wanted me to find time to fix it for him." Sue-Yi couldn't help rolling his eyes. Camby was the manager of the New Flyers Magic Machine Development Center. He could be considered one of the top magic mechanical engineers in New Flyer. He had countless important research projects on his shoulders, but now he was being used as a maintenance worker by Great Magician Camilla. But of course he didn't dare say his true thoughts, so he could only nod with a forced smile. Camby is more familiar with the magic sedan than anyone else, there's no problem finding him to fix it." "There's no problem having him fix it, but the problem is that I don't have a magic sedan to drive in the next few days. I'm having a good time. Can you find me another one?" Great Magician Camilla said this with a relaxed look, but Sue-Yi couldn't help revealing a bitter look. He had just been thinking about the problem of not having enough magic sedans, but now Great Magician Camilla was asking him to give him another magic sedan for him to abuse. It had to be known, there were countless nobles and large merchants in Banta City who were bitterly waiting for a magic sedan, but Great Magician Camilla was already planning on playing with a second magic sedan. "Grandfather, this. Without a magic sedan to play with, how about you play with the magic boat for a few days? Bordeaux and the others have just developed a magic boat that can reach 40 kilometers an hour, right?" Great Magician Camilla had a look of disdain. "Too slow. It's only 40 kilometers an hour, what does that count for? You have to know, this magic sedan can reach 60 kilometers an hour at its fastest. It's much more interesting to drive." Sue-Yi was completely speechless. It was no wonder this magic sedan had become like this in just a single month. Great magician Camilla had been driving it at a speed that exceeded the standard. Coupled with his terrible driving skills, it was already a miracle that he was able to last a month before breaking down. After considering it, Sui said with a serious look, "All right, Grandfather, I'll have Camby and the others arrange another one for you. But can you pay attention to your driving this time? If it breaks again, it won't be convenient for me to arrange another one for you. You also know that whether it is Banta City or the other cities, there are quite a few people waiting for a magic sedan." "What? Who dares steal from me?" Great magician Camilla's eyes popped out. After pausing, he said with a nod, "Relax, my skills are much better than before, it won't break that easily. Right, Sui, if we use the wind magic engine, I feel that there will be a limit to the speed of the magic sedan, so I've decided to join the fire magic engine development team and participate in the development of the fire magic engine." Sui was surprised before being overjoyed. Although the development of the fire magic engine had already begun, because it was still in its initial stages, Sui had placed most of his focus on the wind magic engine, so the development of the fire magic engine had been very slow. Now that the development of the wind magic engine had some success, as well as the initial theoretical data and practical experience, Sui was planning on strengthening the development of the fire magic engine. At this time, Great Magician Camilla actually said that he wanted to join, which was no different from injecting the strongest propellant into this development team. With the addition of a great magician, the development of the fire magic engine would definitely be much smoother than the development of the wind magic engine. Although Great Magician Camilla was a top-grade researcher of the Academy of Magic, because of his special status, no one forced him to participate in any research, so it depended on his interest. He never thought that because he was interested in driving magic cars, he would take the initiative to develop the fire magic engine. With his current passion, he would definitely be very passionate about this work. This was a pleasant surprise for Sui. Thinking of this, Sui couldn't help breaking out in laughter. "Grandfather, you should have said that you wanted to join the development of the fire magic engine. If you said it earlier, not to mention 1 or 2 magic sedans, even if it was 10 or 20, I could have arranged it for you." Great Magician Camilla's eyes lit up. "Really?" Sui's expression froze and he couldn't say a word for a while. Chapter 507. At noon, a light gold magic sedan with a unique design drove into Santun Manor. When the door opened, Sui came out from the passenger seat on the right and Seveni came out from the driver's seat on the left. After closing the door, Seveni looked at Sui's expression and asked in a worried voice, "Hey, Sui, how do you feel after sitting in my car? I'm a newbie who just got my driver's license half a month ago, aren't you worried?" Sui laughed. "How could that be? Although you're a newbie, you're very stable, so there's nothing for me to worry about. Then again, after sitting in Great Magician Camilla's magic car, I feel that no matter who drives the magic car, I won't panic at all." Seveni couldn't help laughing. Regarding how bad Great Magician Camilla's driving skills were, not only had she heard Sui mention it several times, she had also heard Steele mention it several times. She had also received reports of Great Magician Camilla crashing here and there with his magic car, so she already had a deep impression of it. Now that she heard Sui say that a newbie like her was better than Great Magician Camilla's driving skills, Seveni found it a bit funny, but she also found it a bit strange. Great Magician Camilla was someone who could become a great magician, so no matter how one looked at it, his intelligence should be higher than normal people. Why was it that he was so bad at driving a magic car? I've also asked this question and taught him how to drive the magic car several times, but the final conclusion is: this isn't related to intelligence, it's completely related to one's personality. Think about it, A fellow who hasn't even gotten his driver's license dares to drive the magic car to its maximum power and doesn't repent. It would be strange if he could drive it well. Seeing Su Yi's helpless look, Seveni couldn't help smiling. Great magician Camillo was a respected great magician and Steele's grandfather. No matter what, Su Yi couldn't do anything to him, so he must have suffered a lot in this matter. It's not that bad, he is still a great magician, so he won't cause any accidents. At most he'll break a few magic cars which I can still take. Su Yi gave a shrug. He looked at the magic sedan between them and asked, "Then what about you? I still haven't asked you yet, how does it feel to drive this magic sedan?" "Excellent." Seveni nodded with a faint smile before praising without any politeness. "I have to say, sitting in this magic sedan is much more comfortable than sitting in a horse carriage. Running on the road, there were almost no bumps, and the speed was very fast. It was also easy to operate. Ever since I got it, I've been wanting to drive it everywhere." "Really? If you like it this much, I think that His Majesty should also like it," Su Yi said with a smile. "Very good. Take a trip to the Falling Rain Valley in a few days, or tell me what His Majesty likes, and I'll have them make it according to His Majesty's preferences." Actually, Seveni's magic sedan was specially made by New Flyer for Seveni. Other than the unique light gold color, this magic sedan had been specially modified according to Seveni's figure. It was smaller than the other magic sedans made by New Flyer, and its lines were softer. It looked much more cute and was more suited for a young girl to drive. Su Yi did this other than flattering Seveni. It was also an attempt to open up the female market for magic sedans. It had to be known, for those truly rich nobles and large merchants, preparing a magic sedan for their women wasn't something that couldn't be accepted. "All right, I'll give you the blueprints in a few days." Seveni agreed with a nod. After hesitating a bit, she said, "Su Yi, it's fine if you give one to Royal Father, but are you really not planning on giving it to my two big brothers?" "I don't know etiquette." Su Yi shook his head. "I do plan on giving it to them, but the problem is, will they be willing to accept it?" Seveni fell silent. If it was her second brother, His Highness Mayim, who might accept Su Yi's gift, her big brother, His Highness Eric, who was clearly against New Flyer, even if Su Yi gave him a gift, he wouldn't accept it. "All right, let's not think about these disappointing things. Let's go, Seveni. I came to inspect the fertilizer factory with you today. Let's take care of the business first. The matter here is more important than a trivial gift or two." Seeing the complicated look on Seveni's face, Su Yi spoke up. "Let's go." Seveni nodded and headed into Santun Manor with Su Yi. It was already the middle of March, and it was the annual spring harvest season. Although Banta City's business was very developed with the Frestek Chamber of Commerce leading it, with the main revenue coming from business taxes, no matter when, agriculture was the foundation and this had never changed. Moreover, when Seveni took over as the city lord, she hoped that Banta City's agriculture and business would develop together, which was her ruling policy. So seeing that it was close to the spring harvest season, Seveni as the city lord naturally had to show how much importance she placed on agriculture. Coming to inspect the fertilizer factory today was a clear statement from her. A male elf came over from the distance. Su Yi raised his hand to greet him. "Hey Yardo." Although the male elf that Su Yi called Yardo walked quickly, he still maintained the elegance of the elves. He came in front of the two of them and gave Seveni a serious bow before saying with a faint smile, "Lord City Lord, welcome again." Seveni curiously looked over him before reaching out her hand. "Hello, you are the new manager here, Yardo, right?" "Yes. I only took over the management of this fertilizer processing plant 2 months ago." "Beautiful Highness, meeting you for the first time, I am very honored." Yardo looked at Seveni's hand and after hesitating a bit, he reached out his hand to shake hers. Shaking hands actually didn't exist in the customs of the elves, it wasn't even popular among the humans of the Signs continent. But when Yaraduo left the Moon Shadow tribe, he had been told by Elder Lysania that he had to follow the rules of the humans as much as possible, so he chose to follow them. Alright, Manager Yarato, since you're in charge of this fertilizer factory, can you lead us on a tour? Seveni then said. Alright, it is my honor. Lord City Lord, Chairman Su, please come this way. The two of them were led into the factory by Yardo. After looking around, they found that the fertilizer factory was much bigger compared to when Seveni came last year. Not only were there almost twice as many elven workers, but there were also 2 more fertilizer production lines. Wherever they looked, there were busy elven workers. They didn't even have time to look over at Seveni and Sui. Seeing this scene, Seveni revealed a satisfied smile before asking Yardo, Manager Yardo, how is your current output? Is it enough to meet the needs of our Banta city? Yardo revealed a faint smile. Lord City Lord, may I ask what kind of output you are asking about? Seveni was a bit surprised. What do you mean by what kind of output? I'll explain this. Su-Yi took over. Lord City Lord, this fertilizer factory isn't just producing a single kind of fertilizer. Other than producing basic fertilizer for wheat, rice, and other grain crops, they are also producing special fertilizer for fruit trees and flowers. Oh, it's like this? Seveni looked at Yardo and slightly knit her brows. Just the basic fertilizer for wheat and rice isn't enough, so why are you diverting your attention to producing other kinds of fertilizer? These other kinds of fertilizer are also an experiment for us. Lord City Lord, this is the suggestion Chairman Su gave us. Yardo threw the ball to Su-Yi. Seeing Seveni's questioning gaze, Su-Yi gave a shrug. If they only produce grain fertilizer, the product is too simple and it isn't good for the future development of the fertilizer factory. So I hope that they can develop some new kinds of fertilizer. Based on the current situation, the effects aren't bad. After the orchards of Koror village used the fertilizer, not only did the fruit trees produce more fruits, the quality was also much better. It made the canned fruit factory's canned fruit much better than before and the sales volume increased by quite a bit. Seveni rolled her eyes at Su-Yi. In the end, the canned fruit factory belongs to your new flyer. You're still fighting for benefits for your new flyer and throwing the benefits of our Banta city to the back of your mind? Su-Yi immediately complained, how is that possible? Lord City Lord, I specially ordered the Magic Machine Workshop to prepare 2 new production lines for the fertilizer factory at all costs because of your orders last year. You can see it now. Then what are the effects? Seveni looked at Su-Yi with a bit of a funny gaze. If the grain fertilizer produced isn't enough for our Banta city, I really will blame you. Su-Yi turned to look at Yardo. You'll have to ask Manager Yardo himself. Yardo said to Seveni with a faint smile, Lord City Lord, I think you don't need to worry about this problem. Since we received the 2 new production lines from Chairman Su, our fertilizer factory's monthly fertilizer production has broken 300,000 tons. Because of Chairman Su's request, most of it has been used to make fertilizer for normal crops, so the average monthly yield is over 250,000 tons. An average of 250,000 tons a month? Seveni nodded, this should be good. Then do you think it can satisfy the needs of our Banta city? There's absolutely no problem. Yalato nodded with unusual certainty. Yardo gave a certain nod. In order to guarantee the needs of Banta city, we have a certain amount in stock each month. Currently we have over 1 million tons in stock, and adding in the ones produced this month and next month, before the spring plowing, we can even surpass 1.5 million tons. Other than supplying Banta city, I feel that we can even spare a portion to supply to other cities. Don't be in a rush to supply to other cities. I'll have my subordinates calculate how much fertilizer Banta city needs first. Seveni turned to Su-Yi and revealed a smile of deep meaning. Chairman Su, I remember. You promised me that I would have the right to decide how to distribute the fertilizer, right? Sui revealed a faint smile. Yes, Lord City Lord. In this place you are the queen. Hearing the word queen, Seveni was stunned before looking at Sui. However, seeing that Sui didn't look like he was joking, Seveni gave a sigh in her heart, but she didn't say anything. Chapter 508. It's very troublesome. Seveni looked at Sui with a deep frown. Troublesome? Sui had a confused look. Half an hour ago, he came to Banta City because he had something to do, but he accidentally bumped into Baron Belil. He found that he was casually strolling around with a girl who came from who knows where, so he was very confused. He immediately ran to the city lord's manor to ask Seveni about it. It had been 3 days since Seveni's car accident. When the two cars collided, although Seveni and Baron Belil weren't seriously injured, Baron Belil was still brought to the city lord's manor for questioning. Sui thought that other than this serious matter, Baron Belil would at least be locked up for a bit and taught a lesson, but he never thought that he would be able to stroll around in just 3 days. Moreover, he had a relaxed look, like nothing had happened at all. This made Sui very confused. Could it be that after such a serious matter, Seveni was planning on letting it go like this? What can I do if I don't let it go? Seveni gave a sigh. The next day, the Stag family sent someone to give me 500,000 gold coins as compensation. According to the rules between nobles, they had Baron Belil sincerely apologize to me. Duke Stag even personally apologized to Royal Father, giving me enough face. If I keep doing things to Baron Belil, it will cause dissatisfaction among the other nobles of the kingdom. They will think that the royal family is deliberately bullying the other nobles. Sui was stunned. Is there a mistake? Seveni, you are the respected princess. After such a serious car accident, a simple apology is enough? It's not that serious, right? Seveni looked at Sui, finding it a bit strange that Sui had such a big reaction. I didn't even have a scratch on me. Rather, Baron Belil spat out several mouthfuls of blood. Did you see that? He was the one who caused the accident first, all right. Even if he died because of this, it was all his own responsibility and he deserved it. Sui angrily said. This guy was drunk at that time. If he really wanted to find out who was responsible, all the blame should be on him. In my opinion, a guy like him should be locked up in prison. Otherwise, sooner or later, he will kill someone. You think I don't want to? Seveni rolled her eyes at Sui before giving a helpless sigh. But Sui, even if you look through all the laws of the kingdom, there isn't a law that says that he will be punished for hitting someone with his magic car. Or to be more accurate, there wasn't a single law in the kingdom that was against magic cars. This time, he was forced to apologize because he bumped into me, the princess. If he bumped into a normal person, then even if he died, it still wouldn't be considered intentional murder. Maybe he only needs to pay a few gold coins at most. He doesn't even need to apologize. This. Sui thought for a while and smiled bitterly. That's right, the magic car was a novel thing for the Lampari kingdom and even the signs, so how could there be a law against magic cars? Actually, if Baron Belil wasn't unlucky enough to bump into Her Highness Seveni, he really wouldn't have been able to do anything. Sui thought for a bit before continuing. All right, Your Highness, putting aside this matter, Baron Belil should take responsibility for it. Could it be that you're not planning on using this matter to do something? I feel that. You can even accuse Baron Belil of trying to kill you. Trying to assassinate Her Highness. This should be a very serious crime, right? No. Seveni shook her head. I understand what you mean, but it isn't time yet. Not time yet? Sui knit his brows. It isn't time yet, so we can't do this now. Seveni paused before giving a nod and adding, This is the judgment of many people, you don't need to doubt it. Does that include Count Samo's opinion? Sui asked. Yes. Sui thought for a bit before giving a nod. All right, I won't participate in this matter because I don't have the ability right now. But 70, at least I hope that this matter can make the kingdom pay more attention to the magic cars. If we can establish a traffic law as soon as possible according to my previous suggestion, I think that this will be a good thing for the entire kingdom. I'm currently looking for someone to do this. After saying this, 70 suddenly revealed a smile. After saying this, 70 suddenly smiled. Speaking of this, because of this matter, no one dared to oppose any of my suggestions, so things went very smoothly. Sue, shouldn't you be thankful for this matter? Sue looked at 70 with a serious expression as he slowly shook his head. No, I'd rather these traffic laws not be established than for you to be in danger. Seeing Sue's rare serious expression and incomparably sincere eyes, 70 felt a strong warmth fill her heart and her face couldn't help turning a bit red. After a while, she couldn't take Sue's gaze and lowered her head. After pausing for a bit, she looked up again. Although the blush on her face deepened, she still looked at Sue and didn't look away at all. Sue, I still haven't thanked you yet. Thank you for risking your life to protect me that day. Sue shook his head with a smile. It's nothing, no matter what angle it is, this is what I should do. No matter what angle it is? 70 looked at Sue with a gaze of deep meaning. Then what about the specific angle? This. First, it's the most basic angle as a human. Seeing someone in danger, as a normal human, how could I not want to protect them? Then what about the other angle? 70 kept chasing after him. Sue replied with a smile. There is another angle, of course it's because you are the princess. Think about it, I risked my life to protect Her Highness the Princess. What an important contribution that is. 70 also revealed a smile. She looked at Sue and after pausing, she still insisted on asking, then, are there any other angles? Meeting 70's gaze, Sue awkwardly looked away. After hesitating for a bit, he said in a soft voice, if I have to say it, of course it's because you are a girl and I am a man. As a man, protecting a girl is natural. Really? 70 clapped her hands with a look of joy. So you're still treating me as a normal girl? Sue snappily glared at her. I say, are you joking with me? Putting aside your identity, not only are you a girl, you are also a very beautiful girl, all right? 70 narrowed her eyes and giggled. I'm very happy to hear your evaluation. Then Sue, I hope that you can treat me as a normal girl in the future and not treat me as a princess, all right? Sue gave a shrug. I'm afraid it's hard for me to agree to this request because your identity as a princess can't be changed. But speaking of this, I'm the one who treats you the least as a princess, right? Would other people treat you the way I treat you in private? I like this feeling very much. I hope that you can keep this attitude in the future. Seeing the happy look on 70's face, Sue found it a bit funny. Although since the first time he met 70, she had always acted like a qualified princess, always showing a dignified, rational, and calm appearance. In the end, she was still a girl in her early 20s, so she still had the side of a normal girl. Perhaps she really wanted someone who could talk to her as an equal. After discussing the details of the traffic laws with 70 and then discussing the feasibility of implementing the traffic laws in Banta City, Sue finally left the City Lord's manor. When he came out of the City Lord's manor, there was a black magic sedan that quickly came from the distance. Sue wanted to dodge, but the magic sedan suddenly screeched to a stop and stopped 2 to 3 meters away from him. Sue looked at the magic sedan with knitted brows and saw that the one sitting in the driver's seat was Baron Belil. Seeing Sue look over, Baron Belil even gave him a provocative hand gesture. Sue gave a cold laugh and walked over to knock on the window. He crooked his finger at Baron Belil and had him come out. Baron Belil was very straightforward. He opened the door and stood up to look at Sue with a provocative look. Hey, isn't this Chairman Sue? What? Did you just see Her Highness? Are you going to tell on me to Her Highness the Princess? I already told you, don't waste time. Her Highness can't move against me, and as for a small merchant like you, don't even dream about it. Sui looked at him and ignored him. Seeing that there was another person sitting in the passenger seat, he gave him a hand gesture and had him get out. That person came out of the carriage, and Sui recognized him as a small noble of the city. It should be because he was close to Baron Belil, so he was with him. Is this magic sedan yours? Sui asked him. That small noble was as arrogant as Baron Belil towards Sui. Hearing Sui's question, he looked up and gave a cold snort. What? It's mine? Chairman Su, do you have a problem with that? Sui looked at him and ignored him. He walked to the front of the magic sedan and raised his right hand, quickly circulating his magic. After a while, a fireball condensed in Sui's hand. Seeing Sui's actions, Baron Belil and that small noble were both surprised. What do you want to do? As soon as their voices fell, Sui's right hand fell and the fireball hit the magic sedan. Hong! Chapter 509. The intense explosion attracted the attention of everyone on the street outside the city lord's manor. Everyone looked at the back half of the magic sedan that had been destroyed by the fireball, and they were all stunned. Those who could afford a magic sedan were either nobles or large merchants. Normal people couldn't afford to offend them at all. Who dared to do this? Who had the ability to do this? This doubt instantly disappeared when they saw Sui standing in front of the car. When Sui threw the fireball at the magic sedan, he also created a water magic barrier that covered the front of the car. It blocked all the fragments of the explosion, so naturally it didn't affect Baron Belil and the small noble on the side. However, the two were completely stunned by Sui's actions. After being stunned for a while, the small noble finally reacted and angrily jumped up. Sui, what are you doing? You. Looking at the magic sedan that only had half of it left, the muscles on his face twisted from the pain in his heart. Are you King looking for death? Daring to break my magic sedan? Sui calmly looked at him before suddenly asking, Do you have a driver's license? Driver's license? That small noble was surprised. Of course, what about it? Since you have a driver's license, you should know that when you get your driver's license, there is a rule that you can't give your magic car to someone without a driver's license, otherwise you will be disqualified. Now I'm telling you, because you have violated this rule, I as the new Flyers chairman will declare your magic sedan to be scrapped. If you have any objections, you can complain to the Banta City Magic Machine Business Union. That small noble and Baron Belil looked at Sui with looks of disbelief, like he was telling a big joke. I say, Sui, are you crazy? That small noble couldn't help angrily reprimanding. Just because I lent my magic sedan to Belil, you dare break it? You're King unreasonable. Even if I violated the rules and was disqualified from driving, you can't destroy my car, right? Baron Belil was also shocked and angry. Sui, you must be crazy. What qualifications do you have to break this magic sedan? Who gave you the guts? Besides, when did I not have a driver's license? I took the test a few months ago. Sui turned to look at Baron Belil. From the moment you hit Her Highness because of drunk driving, your driver's license was already invalid. Hearing Sui's words, the angry Baron Belil calmed down. He took a deep breath and pointed at Sui as he coldly laughed. Good, very good. Sui, you're determined to meddle in this matter, right? I'm warning you, you're just a small businessman. Don't think that you've really become a big shot just because you're a little smart. Daring to intervene in this matter, be careful that you don't even know how you died when the time comes. Sui gave a shrug and said with a relaxed look, I'm just following the rules, it's up to you how you want to understand it. By the way, Baron Belil, I have to remind you of something. Because you were drunk when you hit Her Highness that day, you've seriously violated the rules of the driving test. You can't apply for a driver's license for the next 5 years. Baron Belil's expression changed, and he glared at Sue before saying with a cold snort, "Don't think that you can control everything just because you control the magic machines. Let me tell you, there are many things that you don't have the right to decide." After throwing this down, Baron Belil pulled that small noble away. That small noble pointed at the magic sedan in an unwilling manner, but he was pulled away by Baron Belil. Watching the two leave, Sue shook his head. He turned to the City Lord's manor and saw a guard from the City Lord's manor quickly come out. After a while, Sue saw Seveni again. "Why did you do this?" After looking at Sue for a while, Seveni knitted her brows as she asked this in a soft voice. "It's nothing, I just felt that Baron Belil was being arrogant in front of me, so I wasn't happy," Sue replied. Seveni clearly didn't believe him. "It's really just like this?" "It's just like this." Sue nodded with a serious look. "When did you become a child?" Seveni rolled her eyes at Sue. "Doing this in a fit of pique isn't your style." Sue revealed a faint smile. "Steele said 2 days ago that I was acting like an old man and she didn't like it, so I was trying to make myself look younger." "Look, wouldn't doing this make people think that I'm impulsive because I'm young?" Seeing Sue speaking nonsense with a serious look, Seveni couldn't help laughing. After laughing for a bit, Seveni looked at Sue and shook her head. She waved her hand and said with a sigh, "All right, I don't know what you're thinking, but if you don't want to say it, I won't ask. I believe that you have your own ideas, but I have to remind you that forcefully taking away Baron Belil's face like this might be seen as a provocation by the Stag family. I think you need to be more careful." Sue gave a shrug. "Anyway, the Stag family already didn't like me, right? They don't care about adding another chip." Seeing that Sue didn't care, Seveni said in a worried voice, "Sue, the Stag family is the largest noble family in the kingdom. They are much stronger than you think. You can't look down on them at all, and you can't let your guard down." Sue revealed a smile and didn't comment. Seveni knit her brows and seriously said, "Just treat it as listening to my advice. You have to be careful, understood?" Seeing how serious Seveni was, Sue naturally wouldn't reject her. He nodded and agreed with a serious look. The two looked at each other in silence for a bit before Seveni said with a nod, "All right, you can go back first." After doing this kind of thing, you must have many things to take care of. Remember, if you need any help, don't have any worries and come find me as soon as possible. Sue revealed a smile, of course. In the end, Seveni, I'm venting for you. Seveni revealed a smile. I understand. ####. It was like the news of Sue smashing a magic sedan in front of the City Lord's manor had wings, quickly spreading through Banta City and the surrounding cities. In just a few days, it had appeared in all the newspapers in the Lampari Kingdom. In the newspapers that focused on the facts, they only focused on the description of the situation. They focused on what Sue had said to Baron Belil and the small noble named Pella. At most, they just extended it a bit, quoting the new flyer's rules for getting a driver's license. On the other hand, in those newspapers that mainly focused on gossip, there were all kinds of reports about this news. There were all kinds of strange things. These tabloids naturally talked about the grudge between Sue and Baron Belil. Because there were some taboos that everyone understood, these tabloids didn't dare say that Sue had a conflict with the Stag family because of his political views. They mainly used their ink to speculate on how Sue had a grudge with Baron Belil. The more reliable ones speculated that Baron Belil had chased the new flyer out of his territory when he came to Banta City, creating a grudge between them. As for the less reliable ones, they guessed that Sue and Baron Belil had formed a grudge because of love. The two of them liked a noble girl at the same time, creating an irreconcilable conflict. Baron Belil kept targeting Sue and the new flyer, and Sue finally couldn't take it anymore and exploded. As for who this noble girl was, it was left to the imagination of others, in short, because of the people and food involved in this matter, whether it was Sue Baron Belil who came from the Stag family, or Her Highness Seveny who was related to this before, as well as the magic sedan, car accident, drunk driving, and driver's license, that were all new to the citizens of the Lampuri kingdom. They all had strong news value. So no matter what newspaper it was, they all wildly reported on this matter. It could even be said that during this time, this matter had become the most talked about matter in the Lampari kingdom. Sue Baron Belil and the magic sedan became the most talked about terms. I say, Sir Chairman, it can't be that you already expected this result, so you did this on purpose, right? Kennard looked at the newspapers scattered on the table, as well as the data his subordinates had collected to show the influence of this matter. He couldn't help shaking his head with a sigh as he asked this to Sue. Sue revealed a faint smile and didn't reply. After this matter, there were countless people who were like Seveny and Kennard, asking him why he did this. His answer was always, I just don't like Baron Belil. But there wasn't a single person who believed this answer to this day. Because no matter what, he was the Frestec Chamber of Commerce's chairman, and Baron Belil wasn't a small person. Even that small noble named Peral, who was implicated, couldn't be considered a small character that most citizens couldn't ignore. What happened between them, no matter how small it was, it couldn't be treated as a small matter. Not to mention that based on Sue's personality and the way he did things, he definitely wasn't someone who would do this kind of impulsive thing. So countless people were guessing, just what kind of plan did Sue have that he would do such a shocking thing? Chapter 510. Kennard naturally didn't believe Sue when he said that he just didn't like Baron Belil. He had been with Sue for close to 2 years, so he knew that Sue would consider things carefully before doing anything. He definitely wouldn't do something impulsive. This matter had such a large effect, so it was even more impossible for him to do it impulsively. Sue must have his own considerations. However, the strangest thing about Sue was that he didn't explain his true thoughts to anyone. Even when Kennard asked Steele in private, he didn't receive a true answer. This made Kennard very confused. But since Sue insisted on not explaining, no one could do anything. Kennard thought about it and gave up this guess. He looked at the reports in his hand and a trace of worry appeared in his eyes. All right, no matter what, based on the current situation, this matter is both good and bad for our new flyer. How is it good? What's the bad? Sue asked. In short, is it good or bad? That depends on how you look at it. Kennard shook his head. The good thing is that because of this matter, our new flyer's name has been raised and all the newspapers are advertising our magic sedan for free. I believe that everyone in the kingdom can accept the novelty of the magic sedan. Just based on this, it can save us quite a bit of time in advertising, right? Sue said with a smile. Then this means that I've earned quite a bit this time. Kennard gave a bitter laugh. The problem is that the negative effects are very serious. Because of the influence of this matter, there are calls to boycott our new flyer's products in the kingdom. There are already 13 cities that have announced that they refuse to sell any of our new flyer's products, as well as forcefully closing the sales outlets that our company has opened in those cities. On which cities? The first is Lauren City, and then there's... Kennard said the names of the 13 cities, and Sue revealed a smile after hearing this. It really is as expected. They are all cities that stand on His Highness Eric's side. Sue thought about it before asking, what about Basaru City? What kind of reaction was that? Also, why didn't I hear about Delakatan City? Kennard looked at Sue with a strange look. Basaru City and Delakatan City didn't have any clear statements about this. But there are people in Delakatan City who are targeting our Frestec Chamber of Commerce's products, deliberately destroying our Frestec Chamber of Commerce's household magic machines as a demonstration. As for Basaru City, nothing happened at all. Very good, it seems like we've found a reliable ally. Sui gave a satisfied nod. Sui. Sir Chairman, I feel that you shouldn't be too optimistic about the price comparison. It's fine if it's Basaru City, but Delakatan City is just watching. Because there is another piece of bad news for us, I think that Delakatan City's watch will end soon. It won't be long before Delakatan City announces that they are boycotting our new flyer. The bad news you're talking about. Actually, for most people in our Lampari kingdom, it should be very good news, right? Sui said with a smile. Kennard continued with a bitter smile. That's right, the wise and great Highness Eric has led the Northern Army to defeat the Sac Kingdom's army several times, and now the flames of war have reached the Sac Kingdom. This is the greatest battle achievement since our Lampari kingdom was founded. It's enough to be written into history. This is, of course, very good news for most people in the kingdom. So we should be happy, right? After all, we are also citizens of the kingdom. How could this be bad news? Sui said with a faint smile. Kennard couldn't help shaking his head. He didn't believe that Sui didn't know how important this matter was to the new flyer. The reason why there were so many cities boycotting the new flyer was mostly because of this news. Because His Highness Eric had made such a shocking achievement, many cities that were wavering before couldn't wait to show their loyalty to His Highness Eric. There were even many city lords and large nobles that expressed their willingness to support His Highness Eric taking the throne. His Highness Eric had a lot of support in the kingdom right now, so his fame had surpassed Her Highness Sevenes. He was the only choice for the throne. However, the king didn't say anything about this. He just sent a congratulatory letter to the Northern Army and didn't mention His Highness Eric at all, which was really thought-provoking. So, it's still too early to say. These cities jumping out this early might not be a good thing. Sui revealed a confident smile as he asked Kennard, Kennard, there are so many cities in the kingdom that are boycotting our new flyer's products. How were our sales last month? Kennard's expression became even more strange. According to the statistics, our household magic machine sales last month were 17% higher than the previous month, and the magic machine workshop sales were 28% higher. It can be said that the situation is very good. Sui laughed. Look, there are still many smart people in this world. Those 13 cities can boycott if they want to, but since they want to live a backward life like before, then let them do as they please. Anyway, most people want to be like the people of our Banta city, living a new and convenient life. Kennard also revealed a smile. Sir Chairman, you're right. Alright, this is something that we can't affect for now, so there's no need to worry about it. Let's do the proper things that we should do first. Sui stood up and thought about it before saying to Kennard, Right, help me send a letter to Chairman Runst. Tell him that because there are so many cities boycotting our new flyer's products, he should consider pushing our new flyer's household magic machines from the Walmart Chamber of Commerce's shelves to avoid being affected. Kennard shook his head. Sir Chairman, you're too late. Actually, when many cities boycotted our new flyer's products, there were many people who charged into the Walmart Chamber of Commerce's stores to rob them. Therefore, the Walmart Chamber of Commerce has lost at least 300,000 gold coins worth of goods in half a month. Sui had an apologetic look on his face. This means that they were implicated by us in the end? Please send my apologies to Chairman Runst. Kennard revealed a faint smile. This isn't anything. Since the Walmart Chamber of Commerce chose to cooperate with the new flyer, they should take the risk. Lord Father has already given clear instructions on this matter, asking Chairman Runst to properly take care of this matter and not affect our cooperation. That's good. Help me thank Emma and Marquis for understanding. After Sui said this, he nodded to Kennard and walked out of the CEO's office, heading into the depths of the falling rain valley. With the development of New Flyer, especially with the increasing demand for household magic machines, the New Flyer household magic machine department's factory couldn't meet the demand. Since the second half of last year, New Flyer had been moving the magic machine department's factories to the depths of the falling rain valley, leaving the parts close to the edge of the valley for the household magic machine department. Along with the Magic Machine Department, there was also the Academy of Magic and the Magic Machine Development Center. Moreover, it was different from the other factories that weren't strictly managed, allowing outsiders to enter. The Academy of Magic and the Magic Machine Development Center didn't allow outsiders to enter. Even if the employees of the other departments of New Flyer wanted to enter, they had to obtain special approval. Even if Sir Chairman Sui came, he had to show his identification before being allowed to enter. After giving his chairman's identification to the guard at the door, Sui nodded at the guard who greeted him. Then he looked over him and asked, "How does it feel to wear this new set of equipment?" The guard laughed and nodded. "It's very good. When I fought the dwarves with this set of equipment, I could beat most of them. Although I knew that the effects weren't bad, I never thought that it would be this good." Sui gave a satisfied nod. It had to be known that according to normal evaluations, a single dwarf's battle strength was equal to at least 5 normal human soldiers. The dwarves of the New Flyer Guards were the best of the dwarves, any one of them was equal to 10 normal human soldiers. Now that this human guard was wearing the New Flyer's new set of magic defense equipment, he could actually beat most of the dwarven guards in a duel. The increase in battle strength could be considered quite exaggerated. No wonder Camby and Chief Saluka kept asking me to equip the dwarves with these new magic defense equipment, so it was because they couldn't beat you in a duel. Thinking of this, Sui broke out in laughter. "Then do you think that if the dwarves were to wear the same defensive equipment, would you still be able to beat them?" The guard immediately shook his head. "That shouldn't be possible. The dwarves are much stronger than me, so I definitely can't beat them. But I feel that no matter how strong the dwarves are, it would be hard for them to hurt me, so I might not lose." "Very good, that means that the effects of these magic defense equipment are very satisfactory." Sui nodded. He suddenly reached out a finger that had a trace of lightning as it quickly tapped the guard's chest. Chapter 511. The guard was surprised. He reflexively wanted to dodge, but after moving a bit, he forced himself to stop. Just like that, he was hit by Sui. Arcs of electricity came from Sui's fingertips, and as soon as they touched the surface of the armor, there was a light blue glow that dissipated the arcs of electricity in front of his eyes. Very good. It seems like the magic protection is in place." Sui gave a satisfied nod as he reached his hand out to the guard. "Come, give me your weapon." The guard was surprised, but he immediately understood. He quickly gave the sword at his waist to Sui with both hands. "There's no problem, right?" Sui raised the sword and asked. "No problem." The guard forcefully patted his chest and said in a confident voice, "Sir Chairman, you can slash as much as you want, you definitely can't hurt me." Sui laughed. "All right, then I'll make my move." After saying this, he used strength in his hands and the sword in his hand fell down, slashing at the guard's chest. Just like before, as soon as the long sword touched the surface of the armor, a light blue halo appeared on the armor and blocked the long sword. Sui felt like he was looking at something soft. Not only did he not feel the weight of the armor, he couldn't even use his strength, which felt very strange. Very good. Sui was even more satisfied. He took back his hand with a nod and returned the sword to the guard. He patted his shoulder before turning to head into the Magic Machine Development Center. "Sir Chairman!" The guard behind him suddenly called out. Sui turned around in a daze. "Do you need something?" The guard hesitated a bit before saying with a smile, "Sir Chairman, can you add a few more people to the list of people going to the Black Rice Wasteland this time? Look, I'm wearing such good equipment and holding such a good weapon, but I'm just guarding the door all day. This isn't too good, right? If your hands are itchy, just say it. Don't you think it's too ridiculous to come up with such a reason? Sui laughed and scolded. Let me tell you, the job of guarding the Magic Machine Development Center is very important. Letting you guard the gate means they trust you, so don't look down on this job. No, no, no. I'm not looking down on this job. It's just that it's not easy to get such good equipment. If we don't use it in actual combat, it'll be a waste. Don't you think so? The guard chuckled. You just want to go to the battlefield, don't you? Sui asked. The guard rubbed his head and chuckled, not denying it. Sui couldn't help shaking his head. Don't worry, this trip to the Black Rice Wasteland isn't just to clean up those blind beastmen, it's also to train the troops and let you familiarize yourselves with the new equipment. I'll let each of you experience it, so naturally you won't be lacking. Just wait patiently. When the first batch of people comes back, it might be your turn. The guard raised his eyebrows and said happily, Really? Nonsense. Sui snappily glared at him. He was too lazy to care about him as he walked into the Magic Machine Development Center. When he walked through the gate of the Magic Machine Development Center, Sui heard a large purring sound. Turning to look, he saw that in the corner of the development center, there was a broken magic sedan that had crashed into an iron wall. Based on the fact that the front of the magic sedan had been locked together, it must have been very fast when it crashed into the wall. Sui walked over and saw the only elf engineer of the Magic Machine Development Center, Ilden, come out of the front seat. He shook his head, looking a bit dizzy. How is it? How is it? Camby and the other dwarven engineers on the side all came forward. Do you feel all right? Are you hurt? Ilden stood there for a bit before taking a deep breath. When he opened his eyes again, he had already returned to normal and said with a faint smile, There shouldn't be a problem, I don't feel like I'm hurt. The surrounding dwarves and human engineers all cheered at the same time. Great. Success. Ha ha. I never thought it would be this easy, this really is great. This really is great, the experiment was a success. Seeing the cheering engineers, Sui shook his head. He walked over and snapped, What is there to be happy about? The engineers were all stunned. They stopped cheering and turned to see Sui. Camby came over with a smile. Chairman, the safety system of the magic sedan has been developed, why can't we be happy? Happy your head. Sui glared at him. Tell me, did you let Ilden sit in it the entire time? That's right. Among us, only Ilden's warning is closest to that of humans. Us dwarves can't. Camby replied with a matter-of-fact look. Camby said with a natural look, As for Karf and the others, they are all humans, so they can't take the experiments. You all. Sui shook his head and said with a sigh, You're worried that Karf and the others can't take it, but aren't you worried that Ilden can't take it? Camby was surprised. How could that be? Ilden is an elf. His body is even a bit better than us dwarves. How could he not be able to take this bit of impact? Isn't that right, Ilden? Ilden quickly nodded. Yes, Sir Chairman. The impact of the experiment isn't much to me, there's no problem. Sui gave a cold snort. So you can experiment on living people? Camby, I'm warning you, you definitely can't do this in the future, do you understand? Seeing how serious Sui was, with an unprecedented seriousness, although Camby didn't understand, he still agreed with an O sound. Actually, compared to you experimenting on living people, I'm more angry that you're clearly the top magic mechanical engineers of our company, so why can't you be flexible? If you want to experiment, it isn't hard to make a fake person, so why do you have to let Ilden take the risk? Sui continued reprimanding him. If something happens to Ilden, will you take responsibility for the loss? Isn't there no accident? Camby muttered, but seeing Sui's sunken face, he tactfully didn't refute and just nodded. I know, I'll pay attention in the future. But Chairman, we can't get the most direct feeling from using a fake person. That's still better than experimenting on living people. This is something I definitely can't accept, remember it for me. If I see you doing this in the future, do you believe that I won't be the first to hold you responsible as the manager of the Magic Machine Development Center? Sui angrily roared out. Seeing that Sui was this angry, including Camby, no one dared to refute him as they all agreed. Seeing that everyone was finally honest, Sui calmed down a bit and said with a sigh, Camby, you have to remember, you engineers are more important to me than anything else. Losing any one of you is something I can't accept. So before doing any experiments, I've always requested that safety is the most important thing. Moreover, for this kind of experiment you can have the Night Song Tribe's factory make several plastic dummies for you. Why do you have to personally do it? Because dummies can't give us the most direct feeling like Ilden. Camby scratched his head. Camby scratched his head. We don't want to waste time doing so many experiments. The dummies can't be injured or even die like Ilden. Sui said with a cold snort. Also, who said that the dummies can't give you the most direct feeling? I've always told you that the most important thing in magic mechanical engineering is detailed data. Although the dummies can't give you the feeling, you can control the quality of the dummy and infer the strength of the impact and the damage. Now that you've said it, I understand. Camby slapped his head. Camby patted his head. I really am stupid. This is clearly a very simple problem. We just need to have the Night Song Tribe's factory make a dummy with the same physique as a human. You aren't stupid, you just didn't think in this direction at all, Sui said with a cold snort. And you all, especially you Ilden. Camby had you do the experiment and you actually went, didn't you think about your own safety? Ilden shook his head with a bitter smile. I really didn't think about it. Because I felt that this bit of impact couldn't hurt me at all. That is because the magic sedans aren't fast enough. If we develop a super sports car that can reach several hundred kilometers per hour, could it be that you think you'll be fine after crashing into it? Sui asked. Camby's group was stunned. Several hundred kilometers per hour? How is that possible? Why is it impossible? Sui looked back at everyone. Camby glared at Camby. Before the appearance of the magic sedans, could you imagine a magic car going over 60 kilometers per hour? But 60 kilometers per hour and several hundred kilometers per hour are two completely different things. The fire magic engine and the wind magic engine are two completely different things, Sui said. Let me tell you, Great Magician Camilla is already fully invested in developing the fire magic engine. According to the report from the Academy of Magic, they have already made a major breakthrough in the most important magic array research. As for you all, you should prepare to develop a magic car for the fire magic engine. Really? That's great. Hearing Sui give them a new task, the engineers didn't knit their brows and complain at all. Rather, they were all very excited and even began discussing how to use the fire magic engine on the spot. Seeing them excitedly discussing this, Sui's heart was filled with joy. It was because of this group of engineers who were very passionate about magic machines that New Flyer could make large strides in magic machine research, allowing him to get closer to his dream of creating a magic machine industry. Chapter 512. Actually, the new magic protective equipment the guard was wearing and the magic sedan's protection system Camby and the others were researching came from the same system. The reason was naturally because of Seveni's car accident. When he was designing the magic sedans, Sui wanted to install something like the airbags in cars on Earth to protect the driver. But because of the research and other problems, the first batch of magic sedans wasn't equipped with this. Moreover, from Sui's point of view, the magic sedans only had a maximum speed of 60 kilometers per hour. Even if the two cars collided, it wouldn't cause serious damage. Moreover, the facts were as he expected. In the month since the magic sedans were released, there had been several car accidents in Banta City, but because the car couldn't go fast at all and New Flyer used a new type of steel alloy to make the magic sedans, the consequences of the accidents weren't serious. As long as the seatbelt was fastened, at most it would hurt one's chest from the seatbelt. But Seveni's car accident wasn't the same. Because Baron Belil had been driving the magic sedan while drunk, he had maintained the highest speed and crashed right into them, so the impact was quite strong. Even if Seveni and Baron Belil didn't encounter any accidents, thinking of how even Her Highness Seveni almost had an accident, Sui wanted to prevent similar accidents from happening, so he ordered the Academy of Magic and the Magic Machine Development Center to research the magic sedans. In the end, during the development of the magic sedan's collision protection system, a human engineer was discussing this matter with his human friend who was a guard of the company. He suddenly had an idea that it wouldn't be bad to use the same equipment on armor. So in the end, the magic armor that Sui had put on the guards of the caravans was born. Sui had met this small accident on Earth before, so it wasn't strange. After giving some suggestions to Camby and the others about the magic sedans, Sui went to the Academy of Magic that wasn't far from the Magic Machine Development Center. When he came in, he bumped into Akali who was quickly running out. Sui was caught off guard and was knocked into her embrace. "Ah, Chairman, why are you here?" Akali jumped to the side like a frightened little rabbit. She had a panicked look on her face as she patted her little chest. "Scared me to death." Sui found this a bit funny. "You were clearly the one who bumped into me, alright? You were the one who was scared. Tell me, where are you going? Why are you in such a rush?" "I'm going." Akali looked over her shoulder before changing her words with a giggle. "I'm not telling you." Sui couldn't help laughing. "Sui, you're going out during work hours and you dare hide it from me, the chairman? You don't want to keep working? What? Sir Chairman, you want to fire me?" Akali looked like she had nothing to fear. Sui helplessly shook his head and waved his hand. "All right, if you're not willing to tell me, then scram. Don't be an eyesore here." Akali gave a laugh and gave a bow to Sui. "Understood. Reporting to Sir Chairman, I'll scram now." Seeing Akali run out of the Academy of Magic, Sui rolled his eyes and headed to Evita's private lab. Akali? She should be going to see her little brother. Evita looked at Sui and said with a faint smile, "Her little brother seems to be taking his driver's test today, and she was worried, so she asked for leave from me yesterday. She said that she was going to cheer for her little brother today. She didn't dare tell you because she was afraid that you would scold her for not working properly." "I'm worried about my little brother, why would I scold her?" Sui shook his head. "Speaking of this, her little brother is only 15 this year and he's taking his driver's test? If he passes, what does he want to do? Is he going to be a transport truck driver? According to Akali, after her little brother saw you, he admired you very much. He said that he had to work under you, that way he could work in the same company as Akali. After getting his driver's license, he seems to be planning to enter our company's transport team and become a transport truck driver." "Does he think that he can enter our company's transport team as he pleases?" Sui slightly knit his brows. "He's too young. He is still too young. I won't allow a child like him to drive the transport magic car all day." 15 isn't young, right? Evita looked at Sui with a bit of surprise. In many places in the kingdom, 15-year-old boys can already get married. Married at 15? Sui gave a snort of disdain. "At an age where you don't know anything, why would you get married?" Evita looked at Sui in surprise. "Sir Chairman, then at what age do you think one should consider getting married?" "What to say? It should be at least your age, right?" Sui looked at Evita and his heart skipped a beat. He wanted to ask Evita if she had considered this before, but he suddenly remembered that Steele had mentioned that Evita was quite interested in him. So when the words reached his mouth, he quickly swallowed them back down. Seeing that Sui was hesitating, Evita seemed to have guessed something. Her face turned a bit red and she turned away. After pausing, she asked in a soft voice, "Sir Chairman, you suddenly came to the Academy of Magic. You should be asking about the progress of your research, right?" Unright. First tell me, how is your research on the magic airship going? Is there any progress?" Sui tactfully changed the topic. "It can be considered some progress." When talking about the magic airship, Evita's expression was much more relaxed. The Material Research Institute has introduced and developed a new type of alloy. The material is very light but very hard. Moreover, the magic conductivity is also quite good. It is very suitable to be used as the main material for the magic airship. Solving the material problem means that half of the problem is solved. Then what? Did you get Kanbai and the others to help you build a magic airship with this new type of alloy? Of course. Evita revealed a happy smile. Moreover, I have already used this airship for several experiments and completed 3 manned flight experiments. The results are very good. Sir Chairman. Wait. Manned flight experiments? Suyi's expression changed and he raised his hand to interrupt Evita. You mean, you had people sit in the magic airship and fly into the sky during your experiments? That's right. Evita felt that Suyi's reaction was a bit strange. Right now the magic airship can be directly controlled by the magic airship, so of course there needs to be people sitting in the magic airship to conduct experiments. Sui knit his brows. He repeated what he saw at the Magic Machine Development Center and the reprimanding of Kanbai and the others. Remember, this is my bottom line. You can't easily use living people to conduct these dangerous experiments, do you understand? Sui said to Evita with a serious look. Yes, I understand. Evita nodded. But when doing these experiments, I sat in the magic airship and personally conducted the experiments. Sir Chairman, you wouldn't think that with my level of magic, there would be any danger, right? You personally conducted the experiments? Sui was stunned. That's right. You also said that this experiment is very dangerous, so I can't be assured letting normal people do the experiments. I can't just grab magicians from the Research Institute to help, so I had to do it myself. Moreover, if I do the experiments myself, it's very convenient for me to collect data and solve problems. Evita said with a smile. If you went in yourself, it's still acceptable. Sui nodded. But Evita, even if you have the ability to fly, you still have to be careful. If something happens and you can't come out of the magic airship, it will still be dangerous. I understand. I've also installed magic protection devices in the magic airship, so even if there is a large impact, it can offset most of the impact. Moreover, I'm also considering installing the ejection seat you mentioned. It can directly eject people in a dangerous situation. Other than that, if it doesn't work, I can use magic to destroy the magic airship and escape. You really have thought this through. Sui praised. Not bad, Evita. Your thoughts are much more careful than Kanbai's group. If those fellows in the research center were like you, I would be much less worried. Evita revealed a faint smile, but my research progress will be slower like this, which isn't a good thing. Whether it's slow or not is another matter. The most important thing is safety. Sui said with a serious look. You are all precious talents to me. I can't accept any injuries to any of you. As long as you're here, there is hope for any research results. So no matter what, you should first consider your own safety. After pausing, Suyi's expression relaxed a bit as he said in a gentle voice, Even if we don't talk about work, you are Steele's friend. We've known each other for this long, so we can be considered friends. I don't want anything to happen to you. Do you understand what I mean? Evita's expression changed. She opened her mouth, but she didn't say anything. She just lowered her head and gave an sound. Sui didn't care about the change in Evita's expression. He looked around before asking, "Alright, other than the magic sedan and the magic airship, I want to ask about the progress of the other areas. Is there any good news?" There are quite a few. Akali has made a breakthrough in the magic array resonance technology that she's in charge of. Not only has the resonance range increased to close to 1,000 meters, it has also increased the precision by quite a bit. She can also use the same magic array to resonate with two magic arrays at the same time. Oh? This is good news, but tell Akali for me that while she studies this technology, she should also study countermeasures. I don't want this technology to be broken by others and we will fall into a passive situation. Really? Evita doubtfully looked at Sui, but she still nodded in response. Then, other than Akali, what other good news is there? Sui asked. As for the other important research breakthroughs, they are mainly focused on great magician Camilla. Evita suddenly gave a laugh. Sir Chairman, speaking of safety, I feel that the one you should remind the most is great magician Camilla. Sui patted his forehead in frustration and waved his hand. You don't need to care about him, I can't do anything to him. Seeing Su Yi's helpless expression, Evita covered her mouth and secretly laughed. Chapter 513. The spring sun was bright and warm, but Lampuri 13th was bathed in this comfortable sunlight, but he didn't feel any warmth like normal. Rather he felt cold and he couldn't help tightening the thick blanket around him. Seeing Lampuri 13th's actions, Dima on the side couldn't help revealing a sad look. His Majesty's health was getting worse day by day. However, no matter how Dima tried to persuade him, he never relaxed for a moment. Every day, he continued to deal with official documents and all kinds of annoying state affairs as usual. It seemed that there was no difference every day when he had been the king for more than 10 years. Oh, there was a difference. His Majesty held court much less than before, and even if he did, it didn't last that long. Even if Lampuri 13th gave strict orders and Dima, as the manager of the royal palace, made a series of precautions for the people in the royal palace, the news of His Majesty's illness still couldn't avoid being spread. Now that this news had spread to all the nobles in Anvilmar City, it caused all the nobles in Anvilmar City to become restless. Right now, Anvilmar City looked as calm and prosperous as before, but under this calm, there were already undercurrents surging. Everyone was watching how His Majesty's illness was, watching him. To see if he would die. Coo. Lampuri 13th suddenly gave two cough. Dima's heart tightened and he quickly came forward, but he saw Lampuri 13th let go of his hand covering his mouth, and there was a shocking dark red color in his palm. Your Majesty! Dima's face turned pale. He called out, but he couldn't say anything else. Lampuri 13th looked at the large piece of blood in his palm and revealed a smile. He slowly took a handkerchief and wiped his hand before saying to Dima, "Alright, don't cry like a woman, you know that I don't like seeing you like this." Dima wiped his eyes and gave an unsound. He took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down, but when he saw Lampuri 13th's face that was so thin that he couldn't see any flesh at all, he found that he couldn't calm down no matter what. Seeing the change in Dima's expression, Lampuri 13th knit his brows. Don't just cry, listen to me properly. Dima was surprised before coming back to his senses. He quickly stood up and stared right at Lampuri 13th. After following Lampuri 13th for over 10 years, he was very clear that whenever the king revealed this kind of expression, it meant that he was about to give an important order. First, send an order to Eric, Mayim, and Seveni. Call them back to see me. Dima grunted and nodded in agreement. Then, he thought that it was very likely that His Majesty the King thought that he didn't have much time left and wanted to call his 3 children to his side to tell them what to do after his death. Immediately, another wave of sadness came over him, and his eyes became blurry. I told you not to just cry. Listen to my orders, there can be no mistakes. Lampuri 13th roared. Dima hurriedly wiped his eyes again and took a deep breath. His expression returned to normal. Your Majesty, please give the order. This is more like it. Lampuri 13th gave a satisfied nod. Second, give the order to Seoul City. Order Count Samo to strengthen the defenses of the border and prevent the Sak Kingdom's army from invading the northeast. Dima was surprised. The Sak Kingdom is already being suppressed by the northern army. How could they spare any effort to invade? Lampuri 13th gave a cold snort. That idiot Eric can't see it, but can't you see it? If the Sak Kingdom was that easy to defeat, I would have taken care of them 10 years ago. Dima was silent. Although he suspected that the Sak Kingdom was acting, luring His Highness Eric to lead the northern army deep into the Sak Kingdom, based on the news from the front lines, the northern army had already caused great damage to the Sak Kingdom's Hungry Wolf Regiment and had even invaded the Sak Kingdom's territory. Even if the Sak Kingdom wanted to act, they wouldn't act this realistically, right? If he continued to act, he would have to pay with his life. Third, order the kingdom's second army to head north and enter the northwest province. They will temporarily take over the defenses of the northwest province. Dima was scared by Lampuri 13th's third order. Your Majesty, how can this be? If the second army also left, wouldn't that mean that Anvilmar City would only have the first army and the royal palace guards? This force. If something happens to Anvilmar City, what should we do? Do you think something will happen to Anvilmar City? Lampuri 13th looked at Dima with a gaze of deep meaning. Of course, if you... Dima suddenly stopped. If I die, what will happen to Anvilmar City? Lampuri 13th gave a cold laugh. Lampuri 13th gave a cold laugh. This isn't if, it's certain. There is no meaning in leaving the second army behind. Compared to this, the safety of the northwest province is more important. Your Majesty, do you have no confidence in His Highness Eric? Dima found this a bit strange. I'm not assured about the fellows behind him. Lampuri 13th shook his head. Lampuri 13th shook his head. If they could really support the royal family in attacking the Sak Kingdom, why would they wait until now? In the end, that kid Eric is just a tool for them. Dima's expression became even stranger. Your Majesty, since you're clear on this, why haven't you made your decision yet? If you had decided on the successor ahead of time, I think that His Highness Eric wouldn't have been instigated by those nobles, right? Lampuri 13th gave a deep sigh and turned to the northwest with a trace of helplessness in his eyes. Actually, I've already confirmed that among the three of them, only Seveni is the most suited to taking the throne. But Seveni's heart is too soft, and to take the throne, one's heart has to be hard enough. I haven't made a decision yet because I want to give Eric a chance, but has disappointed me too much. Dima was silent for a bit before saying with a sigh, actually. Your Majesty, if you could have clearly explained this to them, I don't think it would have reached this point. You're blaming me? Lampuri 13th looked at Dima and said with a faint smile, it seems like when a person is about to die, it's easiest to speak the truth and it's easiest to hear the truth. Dima, you've been with me for all these years, but this is your first time speaking to me directly. Dima gave a bitter laugh and shook his head. Anyway, I'm about to die, what is there to not dare say? Lampuri 13th was a bit surprised. Why are you about to die? Isn't your body still very good? Dima looked at Lampuri 13th with a complicated look. Because I've already decided that as long as your Majesty leaves this world, I will follow you. Lampuri 13th silently looked at Dima for a while before revealing a smile. Good, it's not bad to have someone to accompany me. Dima also revealed a smile. After a while, he asked Lampuri 13th in a relaxed voice, Your Majesty, this means that since you summoned the two princes and Her Highness Seveni, you must have already decided on the successor and are prepared to announce it? Perhaps it was because of Dima's attitude, but Lampuri 13th didn't hide anything and gave a straightforward nod. Then, If my guess isn't wrong, it should be Her Highness Seveni taking the throne? Dima asked. Lampuri 13th gave a sigh. Eric has disappointed me too much and Mayim hasn't been capable enough. Although Seveni's heart is soft, there is no problem with her abilities. Moreover, she has a supporter that I care about very much, which is Su-yi. Hearing Lampuri 13th mention the name, Su-yi, at this time, Dima couldn't help being surprised. Your Majesty, is this Su-yi that important to you? Of course. Lampuri 13th said with a serious look. If Su-yi and the new flyer he founded could appear 10 years ahead of time, I would have supported him without any reservations because I'm certain that as long as he and the new flyer were given enough support, perhaps he could change the entire Lampari kingdom and even the entire continent. But it's a pity that he appeared at a bad time. I can only hope that he can properly help Seveni and slowly change the kingdom in the future. If Su-yi knew that your Majesty cared about him this much, I think that he would definitely be honored. That might not be the case. Don't look at how humble this kid looks, I can tell that he is very proud. Chapter 514. The Head of the Hungry Wolf Army, Sharon? Linear stood on a tall hill and looked at the distant plains in shock. A group of black dots were slowly moving with a face full of disbelief. He stared at the black dots for a while before swallowing a mouthful of saliva and turning to the army's chief of staff Ivy Joao. Joao asked, "Should we chase after them?" Chief of Staff Joao firmly shook his head. "We can't. Although the Northern Army's formation doesn't look good and they are retreating a bit loosely, their overall strength is still intact. If we rush over and fight them head-on, we might not be able to gain an advantage. Moreover, we can't be sure if this is a trap set up by them." Bullsh *T-trap. Linear waved his arm vigorously. "That idiot prince has been led by the nose by us since the start of the battle. His command is just a pile of shit. How could he know how to set up a trap? If he had the ability, how could we have lured him here so easily? Then how do you explain why he chose to retreat at this time?" Chief of Staff Joao pointed at the black dots that represented the Lampari Kingdom's northern army. "They only need to push forward 2 kilometers, and they will fall into our encirclement. But he chose to retreat at this distance. We can't just stay here and chase after them. In my opinion, this is so smart that it's like they are toying with us." "Fuck!" Linear cursed. He looked at the northern army that was slowly retreating, but he didn't give the order to give chase. Just like Joao said, the northern army suddenly chose to retreat at this time and distance, making him feel a trace of vigilance. If this was because the northern army had seen through the trap they had set up after a month of time, it meant that His Highness Eric wasn't as stupid as they thought, but rather a smart commander. If they really chased after them, they might fall into a trap set up by the other side. Thinking of this, Linear couldn't help cursing again with a strong sense of unwillingness in his heart. This time, he had spent more than a month on this plan and had paid a great price. This made him, the commander of the Hungry Wolf Regiment, who was always defeated, feel endless pressure. However, now that he was about to succeed, he had to watch the fat meat in his mouth slip away. How could he be willing to accept this? But as an army general, he knew that he would pay a painful price for being impulsive. No matter how unwilling he was, he could only suppress the impulse in his heart. Looking fiercely at the northern army in the distance, Linear snorted and turned around with a face full of anger. If he kept watching, he might not be able to stop himself from giving the order. Seeing Linear's reaction, Joao shook his head with a bitter smile as his heart was filled with helplessness. He also looked at the northern army in the distance and followed Linear down the hill. He had just walked halfway when a horse galloped towards him from afar. Hearing the sounds of horse hooves, Linear was furious. "Which bastard is this? Don't you know that I've already given the order to keep quiet? Pull him down and cut him down." Joao frowned and looked up. He quickly stopped Linear's personal guard, who was about to charge out. It seems to be a horse from the Military Intelligence Department. It should be a messenger from the Military Intelligence Department. Military Intelligence Department? What's the point of coming here? Linear snorted heavily, but he didn't order his personal guards to continue. Instead, he stopped and coldly watched the fast horse approach. A moment later, the horse ran up the hill and stopped in front of Linear and Joao. A robust young soldier wearing the insignia of the Military Intelligence Department jumped down. "Greetings, Army General. This is the latest report from the Military Intelligence Department. Please take a look." Linear snorted but didn't reach out his hand. Joao shook his head with a bitter smile. He knew that Linear was venting his anger on the Military Intelligence Department because of the failure of the ambush, so he naturally wouldn't pay attention to this messenger. He took the report from the messenger and opened it. He was stunned for a moment before his eyes lit up. Linear, quickly look. Good news. This is great news. What good news is there now? Linear snorted and didn't believe it. Great news? Let me see. Linear took the report from Joao and after glancing through it, he was immediately stunned. A moment later, he suddenly turned and ran towards the top of the hill. Looking at the northern army that was about to disappear into the horizon, Linear stomped his foot and sighed. Damn it! This trashy Prince Eric didn't see through our trap at all. We missed a great opportunity. Joao followed from behind with a face full of smiles. He patted Linear's shoulder and said with a smile, "It's fine if we missed it. We just need to wait for a good show. Isn't it better if we can get rid of these fellows without having to do anything? I still prefer to get rid of them myself." Linear glared at Joao before looking at the report in his hand. He looked into the distance where the Lampuri Kingdom's northern army was retreating before he suddenly broke out in laughter. "But you're right. Watching them fight like dogs makes me happy. Ha ha." There was a dangerous smile that appeared on Joao's face. "Of course we can't just watch. When it's necessary, we still have to help them." Hashtag. The silver-white magic sedan screeched as it came to a stop in front of the City Lord's manor. Sui opened the door and came out. He looked at the City Lord's manor that wasn't considered the tallest building in Banta City, and he couldn't help giving a sigh. According to the plan, he should have appeared on the Black Rice Wasteland with Chairman Cruz and the others, holding a ceremony for the guards of the 4 companies. They would be heading into the depths of the Black Rice Wasteland to clean up the blind beastmen. But when he met Chairman Cruz at the Valar tribe, he had received a shocking piece of news. He had immediately rushed back as fast as he could without stopping. Looking at the giant white rose hanging outside the City Lord's manor, Sui gave another deep sigh. "Your Majesty, you really don't know how to pick a time." Looking at the quiet City Lord's manor that was completely different from normal, Sui shook his head and walked into the City Lord's manor. After entering the City Lord's manor, the staff members of the City Lord's manor all had serious expressions. Even when they saw Sui, they didn't greet him as warmly as normal, rather they just gave a nod before quickly leaving. Feeling the incomparably serious atmosphere in the City Lord's manor, Sui slightly knit his brows and quickly headed to the City Lord's office. Opening the door with a creak, Sui saw Seveni standing in front of the window, looking out. The City Lord's manor was very big and the windows were also very big. Seveni's slender figure was standing in front of the window and her back seemed very weak. Normally, Sui naturally wouldn't feel this, but at this moment, he could clearly feel the deep sadness and loneliness from this back. Sui felt emotional. Even someone like him who was a bit thick-skinned could feel these emotions, so it could be seen how Seveni was feeling right now. "I've said it before, let me be alone for a bit." Hearing someone open the door, Seveni didn't turn around and just spoke in a soft voice. Her tone sounded very calm, but it had lost the usual comforting and warm feeling that it gave people. Sui of course didn't go out and took 2 steps forward. Hearing the footsteps, Seveni turned around and slightly knit her brows. She was about to reprimand the person who came, but when she saw that it was Sue, she was stunned. "Why is it you?" "Of course it's me." Sue seriously looked at Seveni and found that she was also very calm. There weren't any fluctuations in her eyes, and she didn't seem that different from normal. However, only people like Sue who often interacted with Seveni knew that no matter what the situation was, Seveni would always have a faint smile on her face. It made people feel warm when they saw her because she always gave people a warm feeling. But now Seveni had completely lost her smile. She was like a pool of stagnant water, calm and deathly still. "Are you also here to persuade me?" Seeing that Sue didn't say anything, Seveni asked this. "Persuade you what?" Sue was surprised. "Of course it's persuading me to fight for the throne with Big Brother, otherwise what?" Seveni had a bitter smile on her lips. "Sue, you worked so hard to support me before, wasn't it because I had hopes of taking the throne? That way I could provide the best help to your new flyer and make the new flyer stronger?" Sue deeply knit his brows. "Perhaps you're right, but Seveni, I have to seriously tell you that for the current you, this is a small matter that isn't important." "Small matter? Not important?" Seveni looked at Sue in surprise before shaking her head. "No, you must be lying to me. How could this be a small matter? How could it not be important? This is the most important matter for countless people. You won't be an exception. I don't know how many people have talked to you about this in the past few days, but I didn't come looking for you to talk about this unimportant matter." Sue slowly shook his head. "Then what did you come looking for me for?" Seveni had a taunting smile on her face. "You want to tell me that since Big Brother has taken the throne, for the stability of the kingdom, you want to persuade me to give up and support him together? Someone said this to you?" Sue was a bit surprised before saying with a cold snort, "Tell them that they are just bullshitting." Seveni gave a sigh and shook her head. "All right then, Sue, why did you come looking for me?" Sue looked at Seveni for a while before asking with a serious expression, "I just wanted to ask you, Seveni, are you crying?" Chapter 5:15. Seveni was surprised. "Why are you asking this?" Sue spread his hands. "Isn't this a very normal question? When encountering this kind of thing, I feel that crying is a normal reaction and it's natural, isn't it? Moreover, normally speaking, crying can vent the emotions in one's heart, so it's good for people." Seveni looked at Sue with a complicated gaze before shaking her head. "No, I've already lost this qualification, so your question has no meaning to me. Sue, since you're here, let's discuss business. Now that Royal Father has passed and Big Brother has taken the throne according to Royal Father's will, I think you and your new flyer should make some preparations ahead of time." Seeing Seveni hesitating, Sue couldn't help smiling. "Your Highness, what position are you standing on to give me this warning?" "Just treat it as a friend," Seveni said with a sigh. "Because I'm no longer the Royal Highness you speak of. After a while, I shouldn't be Banta City's city lord." Sue looked at Seveni. "This means that you're planning on accepting it? Why not?" Seveni gave a bitter laugh. Seveni gave a bitter smile. "Royal Father's greatest wish was for the kingdom to become stronger. I don't want the kingdom to fall into chaos like 10 years ago because of me, ruining Royal Father's hopes." Sue gave a sigh and shook his head. "Your decision will disappoint many people." Seveni looked at Sue, "Including you?" "Yes." Sue nodded. Seveni's smile became even more bitter. "It seems like you're no different from those people. Because I can't take the throne and give you the benefits you want, you're disappointed in me." "No, I'm not disappointed in you because of this, rather I'm disappointed in your stupidity," Sue said. Hearing Sue's direct evaluation, Seveni couldn't help being surprised as she narrowed her eyes. "Stupidity? perhaps, but compared to your expectations, I feel that this decision is the one that will live up to Father's expectations the least. Since Royal Father has already chosen Big Brother, then of course I should support him and not let the kingdom fall into turmoil right after Royal Father passed away. I understand your thoughts, but I still have to say, this idea is very stupid, Sui said bluntly. 70. Let's not talk about the questions hidden in His Majesty's will. Do you really think that His Highness Eric taking the throne is good for the Lampari kingdom? 70 tightly knit her brows and looked at Sui with a serious expression. Sui, although I treat you as a friend, I don't care about you. But I have to warn you, I don't want to hear you question Eric in the future. This is disrespectful to him, and also to me. Seeing 70's serious expression, Sui gave a sigh. Fine, I won't discuss these issues with you anymore. But 70, are you planning on going to Anvilmar City to attend His Majesty's funeral? 70 suddenly knit her brows. What? Do you want to be like those people and advise me not to go? No, I won't give such unreasonable advice, and I know that you definitely won't accept it. Sui shook his head. But I really hope that you will be careful. 70 revealed a faint smile. Relax, I've already made my decision. Big Brother won't do anything to me at this time. I hope so. Sui gave a shrug. Alright, I've already seen countless tragedies during the succession of the throne in the history book. This time the Lampari kingdom can smoothly transfer the throne with your wise decision. Perhaps it will be a good thing for the kingdom. 70 revealed her first heartfelt smile since they met. Sui, you're the first person to say this to me. You understand my thoughts the best. Sui revealed a smile and didn't comment. After pausing, Sui said, Since you've already made your decision, I don't have the right to influence you. I just hope that you can properly take care of the matters after this. As for me, just like you said, I might need to prepare more than you, because the problems that I and the Shinfei Chamber of Commerce are facing might be more serious than yours. Relax, I've already talked to Big Brother and he promised that he wouldn't make it hard for you, so you don't need to worry. Sui looked at 70, who had recovered her normal warm smile, and gave a sigh in his heart. Why could 70 maintain such a naive personality even though they both grew up in the royal family? If he was as naive as 70, perhaps there wouldn't be anything left of him in the end. Hashtag. Although Lampuri 13th's illness had been spread long ago, and it wasn't surprising that he passed away, because of his death, there were many people who were worried that the Lampuri kingdom would fall into chaos because of the change in throne and the transfer of power. After all, before this, His Highness Eric and Her Highness 70's battle for the throne was already a fact. There were many nobles in the kingdom that had already split into two factions, supporting the two of them. Now that Lampuri 13th had suddenly passed away, everyone was worried that in order to fight for the throne, there would be a fight between the two factions that supported the two of them, and there might even be a civil war. However, all these worries had disappeared because of a public statement from Her Highness 70. In this public statement in the Banta Times, Her Highness 70 firmly supported Lampuri 13th's will, supporting His Highness Eric to take the throne. She also said that she would immediately resign from the position of Banta City's city lord. At the same time, she would give up all her duties related to the kingdom, including the important seat of the royal parliament. After this public statement, Her Highness 70 did what she said in the statement. After this public statement, Her Highness 70 only appeared in front of the public at Lampuri 13th's funeral before disappearing in front of everyone. There was no more news about her. Because of Her Highness 70's actions and adding in His Highness Mayam's statement, His Highness Eric followed Lampuri 13th's will and smoothly took the throne. He officially became the new king of the Lampari kingdom, and the worries of civil strife in the Lampari kingdom disappeared. To everyone, this was without a doubt a very good situation. Being able to smoothly take over the throne was without a doubt the best news for the Lampari kingdom. Without civil strife, with the Lampari kingdom's current development speed, they would quickly develop and become a truly powerful kingdom. It had been 3 months since the previous King Lampuri XIII's funeral. Banta City had already broken away from the sadness and panic that filled the air and was covered in the heat of early summer. The entire city was filled with steam. Although Banta City had a new city lord and Her Highness Seveni had been city lord for even less than Count Stag, not even a year, in these few months, the new city lord didn't do what everyone in Banta City was worried about. Like Count Stag, the new city lord didn't do what Count Stag did, suppressing commerce and promoting agriculture. So Banta City was as lively as before. It was even more lively than before Lampuri XIII's death. Seeing that it was close to summer, for household magic machines, it was the best-selling season of the year. The various household magic machine companies in Banta City were already working hard to advertise their household magic machines. Among them, there were many brands of magic fans. Other than the Xinfei brand magic fan that everyone paid attention to, there were already 17 brands of magic fans in Banta City. Because the magic fan was the earliest product the Frestek Chamber of Commerce transferred technology to, and adding in the fact that the magic fan's technology wasn't that high after several years of development, whether it was in terms of quality or performance, the other brands of magic fans weren't that different from the Frestek brand magic fan. Adding in the fact that the price was much lower than the Xinfei brand magic fan, the sales of these magic fans weren't bad. Perhaps it couldn't be seen in Banta City, but outside of Banta City and the surrounding cities, the other brands of magic fans had already begun to steal quite a bit of the market. They were gradually able to compete with the Xinfei brand magic fan. Other than the magic fans, there were many companies that began developing magic air conditioners, magic freezers, magic refrigerators, and other household magic machines that were suited for summer using the technology transferred from the new flyer. Even if in terms of household magic machines, the products of the other companies couldn't compare to the products of the new flyer, because of their low prices, they still obtained a certain market in other places. So although it was already summer, the factories of the large companies in Banta City were all working at full force, producing all kinds of household magic machines. On the roads connecting Banta City, there were always large amounts of transport magic machines and transport horse carriages that hadn't been replaced yet. No matter which carriage it was, they were all filled with various kinds of goods. From Banta City, they were transported to various places in the Lampari Kingdom and even to places outside of the Lampari Kingdom. For example, the Principality of Constantine, the Drake Duchy, the Rudsun Duchy, and even the Sac Kingdom, other than the Fursan Carriage Company being responsible for land transport. Because of the opening of the Sanglang Canal, Banta City's river transport was becoming more and more developed. The Porter Chamber of Commerce already had 34 large transport ships and 73 medium and small transport ships. Because it was easy to load them, they were very welcomed by the large companies of Banta City. These 107 transport ships were filled with goods every day, passing through the Sanglang Canal. They passed through the Sandy River and the Rum River, the two most important rivers of the Lampari Kingdom, transporting the goods to the cities connected to the rivers. If Royal Father could see this prosperous scene, I think he would definitely be very happy. A sigh came from the bank of the Sandy River not far from Banta City. Chapter 5:16. Su-Yi turned his head and revealed a faint smile. You're seeing it on behalf of His Majesty, isn't it the same? Perhaps. Seveni nodded with a faint smile. After 3 months, Seveni was no longer as sad as she was when she received the news of Lampuri XIII's death. She had regained her usual calm smile. Compared to before, her smile was much more sincere and gentle, making people feel closer to her. Thinking of the things 70 had done during this time, Sui couldn't help feeling a bit of admiration in his heart. Being able to remain calm and strong in the face of great change, as well as being able to stick to her own ideas without being tempted by power, there weren't many people in this world who could compare to her in terms of determination. Speaking of this, you still call Royal Father your Majesty. 70 looked at the Porter Chamber of Commerce's ships moving across the river and suddenly said this. 70 suddenly said, Big Brother hasn't done anything to you or the new flyer since he took the throne. Are you still not willing to accept him? It's not about accepting or not accepting. Sui shook his head. This is just a habit. I've only seen His Majesty the King in my life. As for His Highness Eric, I've never seen him before, so I'm not used to calling him by his name. Then again, I'm just a normal small merchant, so what I think of him doesn't affect anything. Sui, your old habit is acting up again. 70 revealed a naughty smile as she reached out to point at Sui. Don't always look down on yourself. You're saying you're just a normal small merchant? There might not be a second person in the kingdom who would believe that other than you. If someone who can influence the decisions of half the cities in the kingdom is just a small merchant, then what are the other merchants in the kingdom? Your Highness, don't tease me. Sui shook his head with a bitter smile. The decisions of the cities are just for them to earn more revenue. It isn't related to me. If your words fell into His Highness Eric's ears, I might be in trouble. This is another one of your old habits. 70 pursed her lips into a smile. Every time you don't mean what you say, you'll use honorifics to address me. Don't worry, Big Brother promised to treat you and the new flyer well, and from the looks of it, he has kept his promise. Look, Big Brother has already inherited the throne for 3 months, but he hasn't done anything to you or the new flyer. So you can be a bit bolder and continue developing the Frestec Chamber of Commerce like before. Sui looked at 70. Are you here to persuade His Highness Eric? No, I'm here to persuade the Lampari Kingdom. 70 shook her head as her expression became serious. Sui, please don't abandon the Lampari Kingdom, all right? Sui was silent for a moment and said, I never said that I would give up the Lampari Kingdom. But you are doing this. 70 said with a serious look. 70 said with a serious look, in the past 3 months, not only did you not follow your plan to expand the new flyer's base in the Falling Rain Valley, you even moved all the people in the Falling Rain Valley. According to what I know, the Academy of Magic and the Magic Machine Development Center in the new flyer have been moved to your company's base in the Principality of Constantine, right? Sui had no expression, but he didn't deny it. Where did you learn this? Could it be that you think that such a large move can be hidden from everyone? 70 asked back without any politeness. Other than this, Steele and your daughter Freya have been sent to the Principality of Constantine by you. Aren't you doing this to leave the Lampari Kingdom? You're thinking too much, Sui said with a smile. The climate in the Principality of Constantine is better than here, so I'm sending Steele and Freya there to make their lives more comfortable. Don't lie to me. 70 stared right at Sui as she said in a firm voice. Sui, I've been with you for this long. How could I not see through your thoughts? You've clearly made your plans and you've already started implementing them. Actually, to be honest, when you went to the Principality of Constantine for the first time 2 years ago, you already had this plan, right? Looking into 70's eyes in silence for a bit, Sui said with a sigh, This is just leaving a way out for myself. Your Highness, 3 months ago, didn't you remind me to prepare ahead of time? Now you're accusing me, why is that? 70 had a sad look on her face as she gritted her teeth and continued, I understand your actions. But Sui, can't you be a bit more patient? Give Big Brother some confidence, at least see if he really wants to target you and new flyer before making a decision, alright? It'll be too late then. Sui gave a soft snort. You want me to be more patient and confident? 70. If you take the throne, I can give you enough patience and confidence. As for His Highness Eric, but I feel that Big Brother has done very well in the 3 months since he took the throne. At least he didn't do what you were worried about. Once he took the throne, he wouldn't make a move against you and New Flyer, right? 70 didn't give up on persuading him. Is that so? Sui asked back. After looking at 70 for a bit, he suddenly asked, Your Highness, I heard that after you handed over all your duties, you've been living in seclusion in your territory and never left? Yes. 70 gave a nod. 70 nodded. This is to make Big Brother feel assured. Coming to see you this time is the first time I've left my territory in the past few months. Did His Highness Eric ask you to persuade me? Sui asked. No, this is my own decision. Big Brother just told me the situation. 70 replied. Then it's no different from him asking you out. Sui gave a shrug. Looks like His Highness Prince Eric knows your personality quite well. Alright, no matter what reason you have for coming to see me, you've been living in seclusion in your territory for the past few months, so you don't understand the situation outside at all. What? Is there something strange? 70 was a bit doubtful. I didn't see anything strange on the way here. Rather, after coming to Banta City, I saw that Banta City was even more prosperous compared to before, which made me very happy. Of course you can't see it on the surface, but as for the truth, I'll give an example. 70. Do you know that Banta City's company policy has been adjusted recently? Adjust the business tax? 70 slightly knit her brows. 70 slightly knit her brows. How was it adjusted? Was it adjusted lower or higher? What do you think? Sui gave a cold laugh. Just 6 days ago, the City Lord Manor announced the new business tax standards for Banta City. According to this standard, including our New Flyer, all magic machine companies will be classified as new industries and enjoy the new business tax standard. Specifically, it's a special tax on magic machines, ranging from 5% to 8%. Extra taxes. 70 knit her brows even more. 70 knit her brows. The previous business tax hasn't changed? No, the previous business tax has also been increased. Take our Frestek Chamber of Commerce as an example. Because our Frestek Chamber of Commerce's annual income is over 5 million gold coins, we are a first-class company, so the business tax rate has increased from the previous 43% to 56%. It's directly increased by 13%. 13%. 70 was surprised. How could it suddenly increase by this much? Adding in the extra tax, wouldn't it suddenly increase by close to 20%? Taking our New Flyer as an example, it's not close to 20%, rather it's over 20%. Sui said with a cold laugh. Of course, other than our New Flyer, most of the other companies don't make magic machines, so the tax increase isn't that high. The Amsterdam Chamber of Commerce has only increased it by around 17%. This is too crazy. Hearing the numbers Sui gave, 70's face sunk. Suddenly increasing by this much, how much profit do you have left? Your Highness, if I told you that our Frestek Chamber of Commerce's profits this year would be cut in half based on this tax, would you believe me? Sui asked with a taunting smile. 70 was silent for a bit before nodding, but then she was a bit confused. If it's like this, why is the current Banta City even more prosperous than before? Look, there are all kinds of goods being sent out and most of them are magic machines. Why is that? It's very simple, it's because the profit margin is too low. If we don't make more things to sell, we can't earn any money at all. It's even a problem to maintain the basic operations of the company. Sui said with a sigh. 70. When we were wandering around the city, could it be that you didn't notice that there were fewer smiles on everyone's faces compared to before? Seveni remembered the situation when she and Sue-E had been in the magic sedan touring Banta City, and found that Sue-E was right. Banta City did seem more prosperous, and there were more goods being transported, but the people's faces weren't filled with nervous and happy smiles like when she was the city lord. Rather, they all had serious expressions and tightly knit brows, looking like they were under a lot of pressure. The company isn't making money, so naturally they will think of ways to cut costs. The most important part of the cost is the wages of the workers. Sue-E continued to explain. Just last month, there were 15 worker riots in the factories of the large companies in Banta City. They were all protesting against the wage cut. Seveni looked at the old Banta City in the distance and was silent. The workers aren't satisfied, but there are many merchants in the city who are even more dissatisfied. There are many chairmen of magic machine companies who have complained to me, saying that they can't keep going. Su-Yi's expression was also ugly. I can't do anything about this, I can only advise them to keep going. Then, can they keep going? Seveni asked in a hesitant voice. Sue-E gave a soft cold laugh. What do you think? Seveni looked at Banta City in the distance again and fell into deep thought, not saying a thing for a while. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.